Pro Player Stadium in Miami. We get set for the Gators and the Terrapins. Our man is Lynn Swan. The man is Ralph Regent. Fellas.
Thank you very much, Brad. Coach, you made a strong statement with your football team this year. Now you have a chance to put an exclamation mark at the end. How do you get it done?
Well, we got to execute. It's a fine Florida football team. They're very talented. We got to have to go out there and execute our offense and execute our defense. We got to tackle well on defense. We got to make plays on offense.
On the offensive side, everyone knows how good you are at coaching up your team. In a game like this, do you change much, or do you stick with what got you here?
We got a few little wrinkles in there, but we're pretty much stay the way we've been.
Coach, good luck to you.
Thank you.
I know he's got some wrinkles in there. And this guy has got an offense that's as wrinkled as you can get. Steve Spurrier, 12th year as Florida head coach, at least 9 wins all the way through there. And he'll have some fun tonight, too, as they try to win their 10th ball game of the season.
Well, they've both had some time to prepare. And when Ralph said we'll have a few little wrinkles in there,
I wonder if it'll be too much time to prepare. The longest stretch they think maybe ever between an ending game and a bowl game for Maryland, 46 days.
And Maryland has never done this. These players on this team have never been to a bowl game. Florida has been every year to a January bowl game. So a little experience in favor of the Gators.
That's Rich Parson. And he's back deep with Julian Gary. Matt Petrovich is going to tee it up. Maryland won the toss, and they said, you know what, let's take the football. You don't see that much anymore. That's the kind of confidence Ralph Regent has in his offense, that maybe they could put a little time-consuming drive together against the Gators. Here's the kick. The FedEx Orange Bowl is underway. Taken by Gary at about the 7. And he bangs his way across the 20-yard line to the 21, and that's where Sean Hill will take over. A quarterback nobody wanted out of high school, and he now is one of the more efficient guys in the country. Second-team All-ACC performer. He's 11-3 as a starter, and he says he's just scratching the surface on knowing this offense. And Ralph Regent says, I would love to have this kid another year.
Yeah, he's cool. He's smart. He gets him into the right plays, out of the bad plays. He is the general on the field.
The Terps open with 3 wideouts from their own 23. There's a wrinkle already. End around for Parson. Didn't get much. Florida stayed home, did a nice job. And Marquand Manuel made the stop defensively. Offensively for the Terps, the FedEx starting lineup looks like this for the Big Eaters up front. Brooks, Schmidt in there for White, who was second-team ACC. Fowler's the best they got. Bryan and Crawford round out the front 5. Harry, the key. Lynch and Gary. Jafar Williams is their leading receiver. Jeff Dugan is the tight end. A pickup of 2 on that end around. It's 2nd down and 8. Hill going to flare it out in the flats to Perry. And Perry is not going to make the 30. Got about 4. It's going to bring up 3rd down against the Gator defense. An All-American and Alex Brown on one side. Okendo Johnson takes the start on the other. Scott and Lefevre are inside. The linebacking core, Natil, Andre Davis, who was injured this time a year ago, and Hardman. Lito Shepard, an All-American. Manuel, we saw him make the first stop. Todd Johnson is their number 2 tackler, and Benny Alexander, another good corner. And Johnson is their leader back there. 3rd down along 4. Hill, quick pass over the head of the intended receiver. Try to get it out to the fullback Lynch, and maybe a little bit too much excitement in that right arm.
Yeah, a little excitement. You've been waiting 46 days for this, maybe a whole lifetime for Sean Hill. First bowl game for Maryland in a long time. Just don't make a mistake on your first possession. It's okay to punt it away. Good punter.
Great punter. The ACC's best. Brooks Bernard set to kick away. Lito Shepard will wait on the other end. And he hasn't had the kind of numbers as a punt returner he had a year ago, but he was dangerous last season. He took 2 all the way back for touchdowns. Wow.
Good kick.
Shepard way back to the 12. And good coverage as well by the Terrapins.
Great coverage. A good punt is no good without good coverage. And Maryland's been doing it this way all year.
60-yard punt. And Florida takes over inside their own 15. Brock Berlin gets the start. Steve Spurrier talked with us about it.
Brock's been at Florida 2 years, really hadn't had an opportunity to play much at all. In fact, this is going to be his first start. But when I watch him in practice, when we watch him in pregame warm-up, there's not a lot of difference. So Brock, you know, at some point I've always thought maybe he deserves a chance to play the game, and all of a sudden this incident happened here. So, you know, I think it's just the right thing to do right now.
And on first down, he gets leveled as he throws, and it's incomplete. They wanted to put pressure on the quarterback regardless of who was in there, and Leon Joe, the linebacker, just hammered him.
Steve told us that he was going to play Brock Berlin a lot in the second quarter anyway. Well, the suspension just kicked it up to the start.
9 touchdowns.
That's more than Heisman Trophy winner
Eric Crouch
from Nebraska, Eric Crouch, threw this year. 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, 60% completion rate.
An eye backfield behind Berlin and 3 wide receivers. Graham, the tailback, back in there after the injury, kept him out. Play action for Berlin, and Brock goes downfield, and he throws a strike. Jabbar Gaffney on the run. Gaffney out to the 40. And it's first down, Florida. Pickup of 23.
2 plays, 2 passes, whether it's Grossman or Berlin. A little square-in route to Gaffney. Gaffney has caught over 100 balls in his first 2 years with the Gators.
Can't throw it any better than this, Grease.
The square-in, nice route running, nice design, good play. Helps the confidence. Berlin making his first start.
The butterflies are probably gone. First down at the 40. Here comes a blitz from the corner. Graham runs right by that blitz, and he's out to midfield and more. There's what they missed in the Auburn game. There's what they missed in the Tennessee game, was a guy that can tote the mail, as Graham just did for a first down. Here's the big eaters on the FedEx starting front wall. Pearson's an All-American. Snell, Zadelis Moody, and Starks up front. Graham is the man we just talked about. Roberts, his lead man at fullback. Gaffney and Caldwell are great wide receivers, both over 1,000 yards, and Aaron Walker is the tight end. And there's Graham, who got 15 the first time he touched it. So immediately, the Gators are in Maryland territory at the 45-yard line. Here comes the blitz. Berlin has plenty of time. Throws incomplete. Nice job defensively by Jerome Cox, the cornerback. And defensively for Maryland, on the FedEx defensive starting line, Roundtree, Hill, their nose tackle, a great player. Feldheim and Whaley. Joe, E.J. Henderson, the player of the year Bob talked about, and Aaron Thompson making his 45th start. You think he hasn't waited a while for this game? Okonlawan's back at one corner, Cox on the other, and Jones and Littles are the safeties. And Littles is a Gainesville native making a start tonight. And there's Aaron Thompson, and he has waited a long, long time for this. To be in a bowl game after struggling 4 years to get here. Berlin fires complete again. Taylor Jacobs inside the 25, a 21-yard pickup, and it's right down the field courtesy of number 7's right arm.
Good protection. 2 first downs on the first drive. Brock gets back. The curl route. Jacobs is the 3rd receiver of this group. He caught 38 passes and 7 touchdowns during the season. Pretty good for a 3rd receiver.
That'd be a leading receiver for some teams. And there's Rex Grossman chomping at the bit, waiting for his turn. But right now it's Berlin. He's got Florida inside the Terps 25. Brock looks like he's changing things at the line. He'll drop the throw. Here comes the heat from Henderson, and they got him. There's your player of the year in the ACC. Aaron Thompson wasn't far behind.
Henderson led the nation in tackles for loss, and he's a linebacker. That means he's not just backing the line up, he's blitzing. Nobody touches him. That's what they need, some negative plays by for the Gator offense.
The defense led the ACC in sacks and, as Bob said, tackles for loss, not only individually for Henderson, but as a team. And now penalty marker down. James Springer is our referee. And James is reffing his last game tonight.
Substitution, breaking the huddle with 12 players, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
They had 12 players in the huddle when they broke the huddle. And that's illegal. You can't do that. And they didn't do it on purpose. It's just a matter of communication and trying to get players in the ball game.
Now the first down marker's way down at the 15-yard line. So with the sack and the penalty, they're backed up. 5 of 11 on their opening drives. They've scored points this year. From the shotgun, Berlin's going to throw a screen out here. Jacobs trying to outrun the man in the corner, Denard Wilson. And he can't. Wilson stays there, makes a nice tackle. Now it's going to be 3rd down and a mile.
It's a little zone blitz. The guys on the outside are coming. Linemen on the inside drop off, but the Gators pick it up very nicely. It's interesting talking to Steve the other day about this defense. They play that 30 nickel, that 30 dime. He says they blitz a little bit. So that's something everybody's doing now. We'll just have to figure it out. Hold the gun and protect, and we'll be all right.
They're in the gun. Now we'll see if they protect. Empty backfield except Berlin. 5 wideouts for Florida. 3rd down and 23. Steps up in the pocket. It's going to go long. Man out there, and he got him. Inside the 5, it's 1st and goal to Taylor Jacobs. 34 yards.
It was a 3-man rush, dropping 8. Maryland had guys back there, and Wilson, number 13, is not going to make a play on the ball. Wilson's number 13.
Denard Wilson, number 13, Bob. What he does, instead of playing the ball, he plays the man. The ball's in the air. He started running to the receiver. And he looked at the ball, judged the speed of the ball. He could have made a play on it.
They just threw the ball up for grabs.
So it's 1st and goal for the Gators. Graham behind his fullback. Berlin taking his time. It's a toss. Ernest Graham cuts inside, and he's cut down before he got to the goal line. He picked up 2. E.J. Henderson again involved on the stop, along with Leon Joe.
You can see Steve Spurrier signaling in the plays. Now, a lot of head coaches or offensive coordinators send it in to another quarterback, to another player. Steve does it himself, not all the time, but in some of the bowl games probably, he's sending them in himself.
82 yards so far. 2nd and goal just outside the 1. Graham straight ahead.
I think he got in.
No signal. Berlin is saying touchdown, but you can see the referee and the linesman. Finally, the referee comes out of the pile with a touchdown call. So that is an exceptional opening drive for Florida.
Well, especially when you think they had 2nd and 3rd and real long. Can't tell from that shot whether he got in or not, but, you know, he just threw the ball up down the sideline, and the play that the defensive man didn't make on the ball allowed the Gators to get that first score.
Jeff Chandler in for the point after, and Florida leads 7-0 on their opening drive of the night. 9 minutes and 51 seconds remaining in the first quarter. They take it nearly the length of the field and got in by that much. And the coach says touchdown. 7-0 Florida. Under Steve Spurrier, Florida doesn't lose too often when they put it on the board first, and they've got a touchdown. And they don't lose much at all with him as the head coach. You think of his success since '90, 121 wins, the only Florida national title, 6 SEC crowns, and the only guy that's ever gotten them 10-win seasons, and he's done it 8 times.
8 times out of 12 years.
That's something else.
And they could win 10 here tonight.
Yep. Well, they sure had a beautiful opening drive, 83 yards in just under 4 minutes. And Berlin actually had 83 yards. You say, now, wait a minute. They got it on the ground. Remember, there was a penalty mixed in there.
Yeah.
And a sack. So he actually ended up with as many yards through the air as the drive itself was. From the 9-yard line is Rich Parson. And he only got to about the 25 before he got popped again by the Gators special teams. So the first time for Sean Hill, it was 3 and out. And see if the Terps can get something going offensively on their second possession.
Well, these two offenses are a lot different. Florida is very impatient. They throw the ball around a lot. Maryland is ground-based. They need Bruce Perry to be productive.
You saw one of only 9 teams with the kind of balance they have with the ground and the air, and this is the guy Bob's talking about. And he goes out for 9, and you hear the chants of Bruce from the Maryland faithful. Perry, pickup of 9. He's the offensive player of the year in the ACC.
Early in the nation, he led early in the season, led the nation in rushing. He had 6 100-yard games. Then the defenses start stacking the box in there. Now he finished the season with 40 receptions, so doing it a little bit different way.
2 tight end set for the Terps on a 2nd down and 1. They'll give it to Perry again, and this time wrapped up short of the 1st down. Alex Brown, nice job from his defensive end position.
Yeah, this is one defense you don't want to run sideways on. You don't want to run east and west. Too much quickness. When the season-ending game against Tennessee got most of their yardage right up inside, right at the middle linebacker and those 2 inside linebackers.
Riley comes in now. For the Maryland backfield. And he's got the 1st down. Right off the right side, picked up about 4. Sean Hill looks over the coaching staff and talked with us about what Ralph Friedgen has meant not only for this year, but getting ready for a bowl game.
I think it was very important for the team to put their faith in Coach Friedgen and you know, and have faith that he knew what he was doing and knew how to prepare us for a bowl game. Because like you said, you know, none of us are used to this and have ever even experienced, you know, even the smaller bowl games. And you know, I think everybody believes in Coach Friedgen and believes that he knows how to get us ready to play.
Here's Perry on the option, and he only got about a yard. You know, it was interesting, you and I and Swanee talking with Ralph Friedgen about the guys that he talked to. Now, he's been in bowl games, obviously. He's an offensive coordinator at Georgia Tech. But just getting ready as a head coach, talking to other guys about, hey, where do we eat? How do we do this?
Said he called Bob Stoops at Oklahoma, a good buddy, and then also Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech, just to get some ideas. And they had their practices, and then they immediately had their meals right there at the practices after they had their showers. And then the team was free for the rest of the day, so that was a big help.
And, of course, Bob Stoops is the most recent guy that was here last year as they won the national championship down here in the FedEx Orange Bowl. Here's Perry, and he stretches out almost to the 45-yard line. It's going to bring up 3rd down and almost 4, at least a long 3.
Well, it's important for Maryland to hang on to the ball a little bit. They made a 1st down. It's important to keep Florida's offense off the field and their defense off the field to build a little momentum there. You don't have to score. Just build some confidence in your offense.
They've run it 5 straight times. This would appear to be a passing situation. 3rd down and 3. And Hill's in trouble. Got away from the rush. Still looking for a receiver. Now he puts his head down, and he gets taken down before he could get to the 1st down marker, and Akendo Johnson tracked him all the way across the field.
He'll lose that race every time. When they talk about Sean's speed, they say he has deceptive speed.
That means he's not fast at all.
And when you got these linebackers chasing him, he knows he's going to lose that race. There was nobody open downfield.
Bernard hit a 60-yarder the last time he put his foot into it. He'd like to take a little bit off this one and keep it out of the end zone. Again, it's a line drive. Shepard waits on it. He'll take a risk at the 16, and it was worth the risk. Lito Shepard out across the 30 to about the 34-yard line, but we got a penalty marker down.
Lito Shepard had 2 punt returns for touchdowns last year, but as you mentioned earlier, hasn't been as successful this year.
They're going to bring this one back. We would assume an illegal block.
2-time All-American as a defensive back, a corner. A little bit undersized at 5'10". Let's take a look and see if we can see at the bottom of the screen the block in the back.
There it is.
Not much of one.
Matt Jackson hit Carl Cox in the numbers, and Steve Spurrier says, I don't believe that.
You call him that?
During the return, 10 yards to the spot.
I think Jim was out partying too much.
I think Jim was partying, no doubt about it. He's retiring after this game, and I hope his voice improves. At any rate, 7-0 Gators out in front. Showing us the spots around town.
Charge you guys cab fare.
Yeah, it's been a little nicer than a cab riding around with you this week. So the Gators went 83 yards. The first time they had it, now they start even deeper in their own territory at their own 9-yard line. Here comes a blitz. Quick throw. Caldwell broke one tackle. Riche Caldwell out across the 20, and he's out to the 22. There's 14 more yards. Swanee, it's almost like having Swan and Stallworth, only there's a third guy in this group.
Absolutely, they're unbelievable. You take Gaffney, he's the kind of receiver who gets his body in position and makes great plays. Caldwell is the fastest of the group. You get it in his hand, and he's going to blow right by you. And then, of course, there's Jacobs. He's a combination of the two, so it's great to have 3 different weapons, but all of them outstanding.
Boy, they ever.
Jacobs is the backup, and he's already caught 3 balls.
And here's a quick opener. Graham gets out across the 30, got about 8. And now he's going to have to retie. Ernest with another nice run. The wide receivers that Swanee was talking about. Look at that. Over 1,000 for both.
That totals 170 receptions and 30 touchdowns receiving by those 3 guys.
Not a bad group. Second down and short. 2 to go for Florida. They lead by a touchdown. Play action. Berlin loads and goes deep into double coverage, and it's intercepted. Randall Jones going the other way from his safety spot, and Jones got a block across the 40. And there's what they've done as well as anybody all year, and that's pick up interceptions and return them this one 30 yards.
Watch at the top of your screen. This is a ball that should not be thrown. How do you throw this ball when the free safety's in? He's trying to hit the receiver over here on the side. That's the center fielder. That's a poor read by Brock Berlin. And a nice return. And like we said in the opening, the defense has to set the tone for the offense.
Randall Jones with the pick. His 5th of the season. And now that sets up Maryland in great shape, because they're at the Gator 37. And now the Maryland fans have come to life. Play action for Hill. He might want it all right here. Deep middle. And it's intercepted by the Gators. Andre Davis, the middle linebacker, picks off the tipped ball.
He's going for Jafar Williams. This ball is a little bit poorly thrown. I think he was doing it for the other receiver running behind him.
Might have been Julian Gary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think he was doing it for Gary behind Williams. Got his hand on it. Andre gets his 2nd interception of the season. Go back and take a look at the interception. He's trying to get the ball to Gary, who's running a route down here. The man who's going to tip it is here. It was a play-action fake, and they're trying to hold the linebacker, which they don't do with the fake. He holds him initially right there, then he gets back and gets a piece of it. That's 2 receivers too close together, and the ball would have been completed to the deeper receiver if he hadn't jumped up and knocked it down.
And Andre Davis, who wasn't even playing this time last year, major knee injury, rehab that was very grueling. He said that and his baby daughter Alicia being born last December kind of changed his whole life and how he looked at things. Here's Berlin. He's looking at things through red and white jerseys. Down he goes at about the 24-yard line. Here's our AT&T player comparison when you talk about Rex Grossman and Brock Berlin. Grossman, the runner-up to the Heisman. Berlin, the guy that got the start tonight.
Berlin 9-1 as a backup, actually. You know, he, as we mentioned, he got good numbers. When earlier in the season in the SEC, these 2 guys were 1-2 in the pass efficiency. Berlin didn't finish with enough attempts to stay up there, but Steve likes him. Spurrier likes him. There's some talk about maybe leaving school after the end of the year because they're both sophomores.
Right.
And he wants to play, and there's been some talk that he might go to Texas Tech or Miami, and that he's leaning toward Miami. And as he said, some people have said that there's been all kind of speculation that Steve's playing him, starting him tonight, only because he wants to keep him in school. Well, that's not the case. Steve has said, I'll sign a release. You can go anywhere you want to go, SEC, Florida State, Miami. They're good buddies. They like it. Berlin likes it at Florida. He just wants to play.
Blitz coming again. And he got away from one. Throws on the run, and it's complete. And it's going to be a first down out at the 35, almost the 36-yard line. He got it to Taylor Jacobs, who's having a huge first quarter already. 4 catches for Jacobs.
Bob, I love the way these receivers come back to the ball. This quarterback is scrambling here, and the receivers are constantly looking for a way to get in front of the quarterback, get in front of his eyes. It was the one thing that was missing from Maryland's offense when Hill was scrambling around.
Jacobs, 4 catches, 2 of them on 3rd down, and now it's first down Florida at the 36. Here's a handoff to Graham. And Graham out to the 40, got about 4.
This is one thing that Steve Spurrier would like to have in his offense more of, and that is a big, strong running back to go along with that passing game. He's always going to be, you know, he said the other day, he said, we run an impatient, I'm an impatient offensive coordinator.
Yep.
We want to score, but you always have to have a back that can get those tough yards inside for you.
Well, Steve Spurrier's got all the patience of Judge Judy when it comes to football. At the 40, 2nd down and 6. Now they change things up at the line. Berlin, this one's going to be in the dirt. Incomplete.
One of the differences between Berlin and Grossman is Grossman's got a gun for an arm. Berlin's not quite that strong.
Rex has had that chin strap snapped tight since the beginning of the game. He's waiting, chomping at the bit. So far, Berlin led the opening touchdown drive at throws of 15, 21, 23, and 34. The 34-yarder was on a 3rd down and long situation. They've got a 3rd down situation right here, and they're perfect so far. Here comes a blitz. Yep. They pick it up, and again he throws a one-hopper, almost the same looking pattern.
Yep. He's not stepping up. His weight is on his back foot. And he needs to get the ball up a little bit and a little stronger throw.
So the Gators are going to have to punt for the first time tonight. Matt Leach will drop back inside his 30 to punt, and Rich Parson will go deep for Maryland.
Rich Parson deep for Maryland. Matt Leach, the punt for the Gators.
They're coming with some pressure, and Leach got it away. A little bit off the side of his foot. Takes a great bounce, though. And it's going to roll all the way down near the 10-yard line. In fact, it rolls dead at the 10-yard line. 50-yard kick. So Maryland will have it back on offense. They trail by a touchdown with 2:36 to go, first quarter. There's Ralph Regan, the National Coach of the Year, and what a 13-month stretch he's had.
Wow. I tell you, I'm extremely excited for the opportunity to be the head football coach at the University of Maryland. I waited all my life for this opportunity, and I'm not going to let anybody down. They always have a special place in my heart because I always remember it's a team that you never quit, you played it to the end, you persevered, and now you're the ACC.
A 32-year wait as an assistant coach in his first season, becomes the first coach in ACC history to win the title in his first year. Not bad.
What a great story.
From the 10-yard line, his offense. Perry got about a yard.
We're talking to the Fridge a lot this week, and one of the things we ask him, you know, everybody calls him Fridge. Has anybody ever called you Cinderella? And if somebody did, what would you say?
And I said, I don't think they make slippers that big. What a remarkable job.
He's done an outstanding job. First 3 possessions for Maryland, 10 plays, only 24 yards. And the interception that they threw just after they got the interception from Florida.
2nd down at 10. Perry didn't get anything. Here's the option. Oh, no option there. Hill breaks it back the other way, and he got about a yard, maybe 2. Marquand Manuel stayed over on that side from his safety spot, made the tackle.
Charlie Taff is the offensive coordinator for Maryland, and he spent 10 years running the option. And And so they've got that in their system. Ralph says that, you know, we got all kinds of offenses we can run. We can run no backs, we can run spread, we can run option. I don't think that option going wide is going to work against Florida.
So now it's 3rd down and 8. It's a 3 wideout group for Sean Hill. Still trying to find his rhythm. And that isn't it. And miscommunication between receiver and quarterback. And it was Julian Gary who either broke his pattern off or Sean Hill had different ideas.
He had bump and run on the outside. He was jammed, and he was, here's a look at what Gary's running. See, he gets jammed right there. He's supposed to run a deep route, and that's where Sean threw the ball, and he just gave up on it.
So now Bernard's got a kick from his own goal line, and this is a dangerous spot, even if he hits a long one, because Shepard may have a crack at it. He had a nice return negated by penalty last time. And again, he got a lot on it. Shepard has to go way over far side at the 40 to make the catch, and then it is good coverage. You only got about 4 yards on the return. So that's where Florida will go to work, leading by 7 with just under a minute remaining in this one. Don't forget, tomorrow night, our Bowl Fest continues with the granddaddy of them all, undefeated Miami against Eric Crouch, the Heisman Trophy winner, and Nebraska. The Rose Bowl presented by AT&T. Coverage starts tomorrow live at 8 Eastern, and there's a couple pretty good quarterbacks that do it in different ways.
Yeah, don't they ever? Rushing yards. Kenny Dorsey, only 3 rushing yards, over 1,000 for Crouch, 18 rushing touchdowns. They get it done in different ways.
Keith and Tim and Todd and Swanee, who's going to make the cross-country trek, will be out there to bring you the Rose Bowl for the national championship on ABC tomorrow night.
Oh, Nelly, I tell you, it's going to be a good one.
Oh, it's going to be something. At the 45, 1st down. Graham, left side, and still on his feet. Oh, he's dragging guys with him. He looks good for a guy who had a bad knee up until just recently when it was announced that he was going to be healthy enough to start. Our great views of the Orange Bowl brought to you by Monster.com's Blimp. High atop Pro Player Stadium. Sold out Orange Bowl, over 75,000 on hand. And Maryland sold about 23,000 tickets, and they've been kind of quiet. That interception had them aroused, but now it's Florida still with the lead, 7-0. 2nd down, a short 2. Berlin, plenty of time. Deep ball's got a man wide open and got him. Touchdown, Taylor Jacobs. Fifth catch for Jacobs. This one's good for a touchdown.
Straight down the field. The corner's playing the outside, doesn't get a jam. The safety doesn't get out there. The safety, Stewart, says you got to jam him a little bit. I ain't got that much speed.
But Jacobs did have, and he's been the big guy of the three amigos tonight. The touchdown on the extra point by Chandler's good, and it's 14-0 Florida.
Good protection. Nice throw by Berlin. Just throws it to the outside. This was a simple goal route straight down the field. And Stewart, the strong safety, didn't get out there.
He stepped into that one, Bob. Right on the money.
Well, it's like I said in the opening, you know, it's not like you're dropping down to a kid that can't play. This guy was the most highly recruited guy in the nation. He can play. He just hasn't had the opportunity.
There he is next to his coach.
Steve's not sure that he's going to leave. He's talked about wanting to play. Grossman has 2 more years of eligibility, as does Berlin. Berlin has not been redshirted, so he could transfer to another school, sit out a redshirt year, and still have 2 years to play.
And, of course, the other train of thought that a lot of people have mentioned is if Grossman has the kind of numbers next year that he had this year, you would assume he'd go to the next level. And why not sit out at Florida and redshirt there, and then when Grossman leaves, come in and have 2 years as the Gator quarterback?
I was kidding Rex the other day. I said, Rex, if you would just tell Brock that you were only going to play 1 more year
It'd solve everything.
and go to the NFL, Berlin could redshirt and he'd have 2 more years in Florida.
High short kick.
He didn't think too much of that.
No, he didn't like that one. From the 19, Randall Jones got out across the 30 on the short kick. And the guy that's made the biggest play of the night for Maryland, number 12, got the kick return out in some decent shape now for the Maryland offense. But it's time now for the Terps offense to kick in, because they're down 2 scores and we've got only 3 seconds remaining. The last play of the first quarter will be upcoming.
They've had the ball 4 times. They've punted 3 times, and the one time they had it in great field position after an interception, they threw an interception on their first offensive play.
And motion on the left side, it appeared, Maryland. Kyle Schmidt starting tonight in place of Todd White, and I think he might have been the guy that came out of his stance. Let's wait and see. Actually, the Maryland players are pointing toward the Gators.
Good ball. Defense. Offside.
They're right. So it's first down and 5 as they walk it off against Florida.
Bob and Brad, just so that you know, the referee does have a little touch of laryngitis. I talked to him before the game, and it wasn't that he was out partying. He knows this is his last ball game, but unfortunately, he's just a bit under the weather.
Okay. Lynch, the fullback, is directly behind Hill, and Perry now will move in motion. And off play action, Hill's got a man wide open, and this is going to be a touchdown. Jafar Williams for Maryland, 64 yards. That was picture perfect. That's how Ralph Friedgen drew it up.
This is exactly what Maryland needs in the way they've played. The fear of the option. They've run the option 2 or 3 times, and Florida has stopped it. But just the fear of it opened up the middle.
The longest pass play allowed by Florida all year. The extra point is up and good by Nick Novak. And the first quarter comes to a close with a bang. Jafar Williams runs by everybody, and Hill put it right on him. 64 yards and a Maryland touchdown. And then he points to the crowd, most of them down in that corner that he was running toward. So the Terps are right back in it. They spotted Florida 2 scores, but they've got a quick strike of their own at the end of 1. It's Florida leading Maryland 14-7.
Here's the touchdown. You've got Jafar Williams out here. He knows he's running a deep post. Now the option, the fear of the option is going to bring the safety, who's lined up in the middle of the field, out of the middle of the field. Shepard on the top of the screen, who's covering him, expects to get some help. Because of the option fake, Todd Johnson comes out of the middle of the field, and the touchdown is there. Big play for Sean Hill.
That was an excited quarterback. He ran the length of the field.
The Gators gave up only 5 passing touchdowns all year, and that was the lowest, tied with the University of Miami for touchdown passes allowed.
And for Jafar Williams, a career long catch on the 64-yard grab. Novak's kick. Ratliff will take it at the 2. And dances his way to about the 20, maybe cross the 20, and that's where he's put down. Cochran on the special teams made the stop. So now it's Florida's turn. And Brock Berlin stays in at quarterback. There's a career-high night already for Taylor Jacobs. 115 yards and a touchdown in the first quarter.
Yeah, he came in, as I mentioned, 38 receptions, 7 touchdowns. This will be the 5th series for Brock Berlin.
Here's a quick throw, screen. Out to Caldwell, Riche Caldwell. And he's got a first down, picked up about 12.
Now, Bob and Brad, Bob, I know you don't necessarily agree with me, but with Berlin in this ball game, I think it was just what Florida needed. They were down because they were not out in Pasadena in the Rose Bowl. They're coming into this game looking for a little motivation. I think the fact that Brock Berlin ended up being the starting quarterback was just enough of a spark to put this team on edge and make him play a little bit better in this first half.
You're right. I don't agree with you.
so well. And now in trouble, and down he goes. Second sack as Berlin couldn't find a receiver, and Feldheim got to him.
And the reason I don't agree with Swanee, because I think if Rex Grossman were in the ball game, they would have 2 touchdowns on the board. Maybe a little bit differently, some other way, but I think where Florida may get in trouble is in the second half if this game gets close and Maryland's taking it to them. But we haven't seen that yet. Berlin is lucky to get back on that football. Maryland, like we said in the opening, has thrived on turning the ball over for their offense.
Gillespie in at the tailback spot. They fake it to him. Berlin comes up firing again. The out on this side incomplete. Intended for Caldwell, and again they got some pressure on him. And it brings up 3rd down and long.
This Maryland defense led the ACC in fewest points allowed, in interceptions, sacking the quarterback, takeaways. They're a good football team. And nobody seems to give them any credit, but they did win the Atlantic Coast Conference.
3rd down and 18.
Gary Blackney, the defensive coordinator.
He's bringing his troops up close. 8 guys up close to the line of scrimmage. Flags down. Berlin down the middle, and he completed it. Somehow he tucked it in there. Got it to Perez. And let's see about the flag. Second time on a 3rd and long, Berlin's picked up the needed yardage. On 3rd and 23, got 34 that time. 3rd and 18, picked up 21.
Looks like it's coming back by the reaction of Perez.
Yep. They'll bring it back. So now it's going to be 3rd down and about 23.
I don't know if Jim Springer's voice is going to make it through the ball game.
I think we might have to help on some of the calls. And it's been kind of rainy down here a couple days. Bruce Spurrier upset on the sideline because he knows that would have been a 1st down. So it's backed up to the 18-yard line. 3rd down and 23 now. Wideouts. So far, Jacobs has been the star of the group, and he's down to the bottom of your screen. And Berlin will work from the gun. Maryland backs out and comes with a 3-man rush, and Berlin deep and intercepted. And Maryland's got it down the sideline. Okonlawan tipped it. They're inside the 5. Wilson comes away with it. He's the one that got beat before. And they say he tried the same route. They tried to straight down the sideline, trying to throw him the ball. This time, the defensive backs take it away. Okonlawan is number 11. He gets it first, and then Wilson gets the tip ball. Huge play for the Maryland defense. All the way down to the 3-yard line.
This is what Florida does. They did it the time before when it was long yardage. Steve Spurrier said, just throw it up, and our offensive man, if he has to, will play a defensive back and protect from the interception. That didn't happen.
Opportunity to tie things up. 1st and goal, Maryland. Riley's the tailback. He gets the call, but he's dragged down. Actually lost a yard. Grossman's warming up on the sideline. But right now, it's Maryland's fans that are warming to a possibility of a 14-14 game here in the 2nd quarter.
And Ralph knows that he says this is the best team we've played all year. Athletically, we can't compare with them. But we got to do our thing.
Here's the option again. Riley on the pitch this time. And again, he ran into a Gator wall. Travis Carroll, the middle linebacker, made the stop.
And Riley is in there because he is 6'3" and 220 pounds. Perry is a short guy, a little small guy, a lot of speed. But when you get down in this area, they like the big back.
So it's 3rd down and goal. They don't want to waste a scoring opportunity like this.
Well, you got to take a timeout and talk about it if there's any uncertainty right here.
And that's what's coming up, Bob. Timeout taken by Hill. And the whole team will come over and gather around the bridge. 14-7, Florida. 3rd and goal, Maryland. And a touchdowns in this area. Hill rolls, and he's got to throw it away.
Good play. Get the quarterback out, get some options. And Ralph told him if it's not there, just pitch it in the second row. We'll kick a field goal. You hate to come away from when you get a great play like this on the other team's 3-yard line, not to get 7 points out of it.
Nick Novak is 16 out of 25 on the year. He's hit 12 of his last 14. Had a terrible start to the season and then became an instant celebrity when Florida beat Georgia Tech, as he had a 46-yarder to send it to OT, and he won it in overtime. And now he's lined up 20-yard field goal attempt to try to cut into Florida's lead.
And a tough angle.
Got it up and good. So they don't get 7, but the interception does net him a field goal. Novak from 20, and it's 14-10. Maryland's done a nice job with their defense tonight. A.J. Henderson had the first sack of the night, came almost untouched to get Berlin. And then it was Randall Jones with the first interception of the night. Henderson chases Berlin sideline to sideline. They've been hitting him, forced him to cough that one up. He covered it on his own. And then a moment ago, O'Conlawan with the tip, and Wilson took it the other way down to the tree. That's where they set up shop and subsequently got the field goal.
And O'Conlawan is back after missing 7 games this year. He was one of their top defensive backs. Talking with Gary Blackney before the ball game, he wanted us to say hello to his wife, Loretta, who is recovering from some medical problems, and she said she always watches the games and always wants us to do well, and so wanted us to send a special hello to Loretta.
So Loretta in the Silver Spring Center, we wish you a happy new year and send you all our very best.
All the best. Gary was head coach at the Montreal Alouettes for a couple of years before he came down here.
Kite with the kick return, broke a tackle, still on his feet, now cuts to the outside, and he's all the way out to the 40-yard line. Good looking return. Had to break a couple of tackles to get it and got 35 yards on the kick run back. Coming up Sunday, January 27th, Stephen King, the modern master of suspense, brings the terror home. Rose Red, Sunday, January 27th, only on ABC. My daughter's been waiting for that one since we started promoing that movie. She loves that stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Anything that can scare you.
Yeah.
Berlin still in there. And he'll work from the 39. And that's tipped. And it's actually caught. Or are they going to say incomplete? It was Graham on the deflection trying to come up with it.
I think Roundtree, 71, gets his hands up down at the bottom of the screen. That's a nice job by the defensive lineman Roundtree. If you can't get there and you see the ball released, just jump. That drives quarterbacks nuts.
So the incompletion brings up 2nd down and 10. Florida leading by 4. Here comes the heat again. Henderson trying to bust through. Berlin goes down the middle where Henderson blitzed from, and he got a short completion to Ben Troop. Troop, one of the big tight ends for Florida. Aaron Walker, one of the others.
Tight ends don't catch a lot of balls in this offense, but they catch because Florida throws so many passes, they probably catch as many as some others, tight ends in other offenses, I guess.
You see the first down markers at the 49. Our 1st and 10 brought to you tonight by Monster.com. And on 3rd down, Berlin, here comes the late heat, tipped in the air and caught again. Well, he's living right. That one was caught. 1st down, Florida. And it was Jacobs. Who else? His 6th catch of the night.
Well, Jacobs was open downfield, and Berlin probably should have gone to him. You see Jacobs, number 6, he was wide open. He should have thrown the ball over the receiver, and Jacobs, but nice play by the young receiver.
And it was Henderson who was trying to put a hit on Riche Caldwell that actually is the guy that tipped that thing in the air. So the Gators are back on the Maryland end of the field with a first down. Berlin throws again the screen. And here's Gaffney. Jabbar Gaffney takes it inside the 30. Down to about the 28-yard line. Rod Littles finally made the tackle, but Gaffney got 19.
This is a nice little slip screen. It's like a wide receiver screen. Here's Gaffney out here. They're going to throw the ball out to him. Watches the other linemen and the backs are going to go out and take some of the blockers, block for him as he runs the play across the field. But that's a nice little gimmick, and it's a tough play to time out. But if you do, you can get a good gain out of it.
So another first down just inside the Maryland 28 now. Blitz coming. Graham running by it. And Henderson, man, is he all over the field. The ball's down. I believe they whistled it down. No, they're going to say Maryland football. I thought he was down. Charles Hill comes out of the pile with it. So another turnover.
But this is the third turnover in a little over a quarter.
Yep, ball's out.
The ball was definitely loose before he was on the ground.
Good call by the officials.
Maryland led the conference with 34 takeaways. This is the third one in this ball game today, and as we mentioned, the only way Maryland could keep up with Florida was getting some turnovers.
You know who made the tackle and forced the fumble? E.J. Henderson.
There you go.
So the Terps have it back on offense from the 24, trailing by 4 here in the second quarter of the FedEx Orange Bowl. Carson on the move. They're going to give it to Lynch. The fullback goes straight ahead. You know, we've seen James do a little bit of damage. He's a big fella. He had a 65-yarder. Remember the Florida State game we did? He took it right up the middle and just kept on steaming.
Well, the other two takeaways, the other two fumbles that Florida turned over, one was on the 37-yard line. One they got on their own 3-yard line. Maryland only got 3 points out of those two turnovers.
First and 10 brought to you by Monster.com. They've got second down at about 5. They go straight ahead with Perry this time. I beg your pardon, it was Lynch again, the fullback. So James has got a couple carries on this drive. He is a huge fullback, 261, and it might be a biscuit or two more than that, actually.
He doesn't get to carry it very often, but if you're going to run an option, you got to give it a little time, a little bit, every so often to the fullback to keep him honest.
Third down and 2. On the option, there's a pitch. Carson's got a first down. Across the 35 out to the 37.
That was those two previous plays where they gave the ball to Lynch just to help him get the pitch. This time you've got to hold the linebackers to the inside and then pitch it just long enough to get the block on the teal by Crawford.
And watch Perry's block. The tailback coming out, boom, right there. Well, good job by everybody execution-wise, and it's first down Maryland. Not much that time for Perry. Got about a yard and a half, maybe 2. Marquand Manuel from the safety position made the stop. Ralph Friedgen in his first year, 10-1. And the Maryland offense right now, the last time they had it, got a touchdown. 2 times ago, rather, got a touchdown. Last time they got the field goal after the interception. Flags down. Hill to Carson. And he would have a first down. We'll wait and see about the penalty. Alex Brown putting some pressure on.
Offside. Defense. Penalties decline.
And it is going to go against Florida, so it's a first down. That might have been the problem with Alex Brown. Too quick.
Talking to Ricky Hundley, the defensive line coach for Florida before the ball game. He's new at Florida this year, and he has really helped Alex Brown in his defensive line skills this year. There's a look at Ricky.
He was a heck of a player in his own right.
He was just coaching at Missouri and came over. This is his first year with the Gators.
Again, the option. Now the drop off play action. Hill in trouble, and he threw into some coverage.
Should have been intercepted.
Natil had his hands on it, couldn't hold it.
Should have had it and dropped it.
Alex Brown, I think that time, had a hold of Hill, and he shook him off to get rid of it.
Scrambling around, and you see the receiver, you don't see the linebacker. That's the problem when you scramble around. He said, all right, everything's fast speed. I'm getting rid of this ball. I'm going to get clocked. And you see a receiver get the ball to him.
Now he's going to flare it out to Perry. Little screen on the run for Perry. And he's inside the 35 of Florida. First down, Maryland.
Well, that's the way you can make some big plays. If you can't run it from scrimmage, throw a little screen to your speedster. As we mentioned, 40 receptions coming into the ball game. That's a nice call.
Ralph Friedgen said in spring ball he didn't know if he could find a tailback to replace a guy like Lamont Jordan. This guy has fit the bill. Just got better every practice, and then when the season started, got better every game. And on first down, here's a counter. Pickup of about a yard. Gus Scott made the tackle. Bruce Perry, a big part of this offense with that last swing pass. And he said, you know what? Everybody's counting us out of this game. What's the deal?
Everybody's written us off. You know, up until this point, look who we are. You know, we're number 6 in the country now. You know, I mean, all those polls and things, they really matter. They mean nothing. You know, but when you strap those, you know, cleats on, that helmet on, you go play football on Saturday, that's where you show, you know, what type of team you are and what you can do. And we've done that for 11 weeks so far, you know, and we're just looking forward to doing it one more time.
On that play, you saw Sean Hill have his pass tipped, and he was wise enough to go up and get it and knock it down.
Smart play. Smart play. You quarterbacks out there watching, if this happens to you, don't be a hero and catch it. Because that's just going to bring other bad news.
Other bad news is right.
Just get up there and knock it down. Don't let anybody catch it. Even if you do catch it, it's going to be a loss, and you're going to get hit.
Hill's thrown for 97 yards and a touchdown, but only 4 for 10. And now timeout taken by Florida. 6 minutes, 48 seconds remaining first half. Florida leading Maryland by 4. Back at the FedEx Orange Bowl, a sold-out Pro Player Stadium. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our ABC crew along with you. Third down, a long 8 for Sean Hill and the Maryland offense. His leading receiver, Julian Gary, he's tried to get it to him 3 times tonight. He still hasn't caught a ball.
Look out.
There he has now on the wide-out screen, but he's not going anywhere with it. Nice job by the Florida defense.
Yeah, that was the first 3rd and long that Maryland has faced tonight, and you don't want to get in 3rd and longs very often against this Gator defense. It's a Gus Scott, number 9, a little safety blitz. They had the right call on. The Gators just come up and make the quickness, just gets after it and doesn't make they had 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, could have picked up the first down.
46-yard field goal attempt by Novak. This is the distance he hit that one I talked about against Georgia Tech to send that game to overtime. And he's going to miss this one. Hooked it to the left. So the score remains Florida 14 and Maryland 10 with 6 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in the quarter.
So Maryland has gotten 3 takeaways from the Gator offense, and they've only scored 3 points.
Yep. They had the interception by Randall Jones, and they gave it right back. They had the interception by Bernard Wilson and got a field goal. They had the fumble recovery by Charles Hill and missed a field goal. And here comes the first team All-American quarterback into the game for the first time tonight. Rex Grossman takes over for the Florida Gators. And on first down and play action, he's going long. Airs it out and just overshot Caldwell.
And I think in one play, you can see the difference between Grossman overthrowing a deep throw and Brock Berlin underthrowing a few of them.
Yeah, he had some pent-up emotion on that throw, didn't he? Second in the Heisman Trophy to Eric Crouch, who was a very close vote, led the nation in total offense and passing efficiency, as Florida led the country in passing the football, over 400 yards a game. This time he rifles it out complete. Gillespie, nice move, a little back pedal. He got close to the first down, picked up about 9. Rod Littles made the tackle.
Play action, gets rid of the ball, unblocked. Linebacker was in there, and he saw it and got rid of it. You know, not only did Rex Grossman lead the country in pass efficiency this year, his numbers were higher than any quarterback that has ever played the game since they've been keeping pass efficiency numbers.
Graham, off tackle, first down run, and then some. And Ernest is over the 45 to the 46-yard line. That'll be a first down, Florida. Our Aflac trivia question for this Orange Bowl. Maryland played in their first Orange Bowl in '54. What film won the Academy Award for Best Picture that year?
Oh.
I was not around to watch that movie.
Whoa. Bringing in some of the ladies out there. They might know this one, huh?
I hope so.
Yeah.
And we'll give you an answer a little bit later on. First down. Nice play fake by Grossman. Plenty of time. Throwing short. And Henderson is all over Gillespie. Pickup of about 3. E.J. Henderson, it seems like I've called his name every time there's been a collision. And that's why he led the ACC in tackles with 150. As Bob said, led everybody in tackles for loss, 28. 6 sacks. He gets around the ball.
He had some back problems that were not made public coming into this ball game for the last week and a half.
Here's a throw and a completion, first down. Gillespie out inside the 40 to the 39, a pickup of 13.
Gillespie caught 10 passes in the last game against Tennessee. For the year, he caught, how many did he catch? He got 41 for the year, 10 of them in the last game, so a nice target. Both backs, Gillespie and Bruce Perry, catch a lot of balls out of the backfield.
Gillespie has caught 3 already on this drive as he gets a quick breather on the sideline. Just over 4 minutes left in the half. 14 to 10, Florida. Grossman, straight drop. Fires across the middle, short again. And this is the fullback. Rob Roberts has got it close to the first down, and Rob Roberts does not handle the ball very often because if you're a Florida fullback, it's kind of like being with, you know, the merry men of Robin Hood without owning a bow.
Yeah. There were 5 guys out on that route, and Rob Roberts was the 5th choice, I guarantee you. He looked downfield to the 2 receivers, tight end was covered, and the other back was covered, dumped it off to Rob Roberts. You need somebody in that role, though.
Absolutely.
A blocker and a safety valve if everybody else is covered.
First down. Florida at the 28 of Maryland. Grossman again loads it and fires behind his intended receiver that time, and it was Taylor Jacobs who's had such a huge first half, and that was thrown behind him.
Yeah, that was way behind him. This one is just whether he was expecting him to go somewhere else. The ball didn't slip. I mean, Taylor Jacobs is running a slant, and that ball was so badly thrown that O'Connell couldn't catch it. I think Jacobs throwing the run route right there.
That kind of tells the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said you had it wide open. It was a post corner. You had it out there. You would have had it.
Grossman 4 out of 6. Now 5 of 7. He's got his tight end Troop again. Another Gator first down. Ben Troop, the sophomore out of Augusta, Georgia, got a first. They got to knock some of the mud out of that helmet.
That's right. That's what happens.
We had some showers earlier today. Field in good shape. The Dolphins played here on Sunday against Atlanta, so it's the second football game of the week for this facility. 9th play of the Gator drive. And another first down. Now they come straight ahead with Graham. Only got about 2. Our Tostitos team comparison so far.
You can see how Florida gets it done offensively. They don't get it done running. They're 85th in the nation rushing. They're pretty good otherwise.
You're not kidding.
Maryland, they got a pretty balanced attack, although their passing is not as good as, certainly not as Florida.
That passing attack does have one Maryland touchdown tonight, though. That's their only touchdown. The other, a field goal of Novak. That's where we stand. And again, Henderson steps into that gap. Here he comes. Grossman to throw. To the end zone. Jacobs, touchdown. His second of the night. I think it's a coming out party for Taylor Jacobs. We said they had three amigos, and Trace is doing it tonight.
Yeah, but sometimes it just goes to the guy that lines up in that position. You know, they get a lot of attention to Gaffney, and you get a lot of Richey Caldwell gets a lot of attention, so sometimes the third guy is the guy.
Chandler's extra point is good. And with 2:18 left in the quarter, the Gators have added another touchdown, this time courtesy of Rex Grossman. And he throws a strike here. 15 yards as he loads it and puts it right where it needed to be to number 6, who's having a career night. Jacobs' second touchdown catch. 7 receptions in all here in the first half. It's orange and blue. Florida leads 21-10. Our Aflac trivia question: Maryland played their last, or rather their first Orange Bowl in '54. What film won the Academy Award for Best Picture? From Here to Eternity. I didn't know that one.
I didn't know that one either.
Old Blue Eyes. Frank was in that. Burt Lancaster was in that. My mom probably got that one right. Seems like it's been an eternity for Maryland being in a game of this magnitude, and they trailed 21-10 as Grossman just threw a touchdown pass.
My mama would have known that one too.
Absolutely. Sean Hill looking on. Petrovich set to kick away. One of the only straight-on kickers you'll find anywhere in the world, I'm sure. And there he comes straight into it, high and short again. Parson from the 10. And only got to the 20 and then got swarmed under.
For as short as that kick was, not a very good kick return.
Not at all. Maryland will have it back on offense, though, with 2:09 to work when we come back to Miami. 21-10 Florida. Charles Schwab will make contributions to the scholarship fund of each of the universities represented in the Bowl Championship Series. Maryland looking for its 11th win of the season, but right now they're down 11 to Florida after Grossman's touchdown pass to Jacobs.
Impressive drive, Rex Grossman.
Here's the throw, complete. Out to Jafar Williams, who has Maryland's only touchdown tonight. Pickup of 8.
Zone route by zone pass coverage. Williams just goes down and stops. Picks up about 7 yards. You got 2 minutes and 4 seconds to move it down. At least get a field goal on the board here.
Second down and a long 2. Hill, quick drop, quick throw. Parsons got it, and he's got a first down.
And Parsons is the speed guy. He's a true freshman that they've worked in there over the course of the season. Came in with 11 receptions. He'll be around here doing some good things for a long time.
Freshman out of Newark, Delaware. And the first down, they move the sticks out across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. Hill now from the gun. Fires. That one probably should have been caught. I don't know if Williams didn't see that coming or what.
One or the other, but they didn't hook up.
Well, he probably should have seen it, because Maryland spends an inordinate amount of time worrying about the last 2 minutes of the ball game. And the reason being is that Ralph Friedgen watched John Wooden coach his basketball team many, many years ago, and he saw how John Wooden really worried about the end of the game scenarios and spent a lot of time. So he said from that moment on, he spent a lot of time in his playbook worrying about the last 2 minutes of a ball game.
And if they had not executed the last 2 minutes against North Carolina State, they wouldn't be here. Dangerous throw to Perry, and he got planted on a form tackle by Benny Alexander.
That's tough. It's tough when Sean Hill is looking to his right, making his reads, and then his outlet is all the way over to his left, and that's what happened. And he just served up Bruce Perry.
with 1:41, a timeout taken by Maryland. Benny Alexander making his 36th career start. He's seen all this before. Coming up at halftime, John and Terry from Disneyland Resort in California. Look ahead. Keith will have a look ahead to the national championship game in the Rose Bowl. The greatest air and ground quarterbacks presented by FedEx. And where the party at halftime show. Joe Willie Nick.
He's in the Hall of Honor here at the Orange Bowl.
He's with us, what, 2 years ago in the booth?
A couple years ago. Yeah, old Joe. He's a good guy.
Here's Hill. Under pressure, and he ran right into a sack. Waited too long, and Gus Scott came from the secondary, fought off a block, and that might do in Maryland's chance to get points before halftime.
Gus Scott is quite a playmaker. Number 9. He's on the special teams. He's had some blocks this year, and he's got 5 sacks now. He's a strong safety. In fact, that strong safety position's got 8 sacks on the year.
And he doesn't start, and he's our number 2 tackler.
Yeah.
So he'll get after it a little bit.
He's active.
So Maryland's opportunity goes by the boards on 4th down. Rose Bowl presented by AT&T. Tomorrow night, Eric Crouch and once beaten Nebraska. Darren Diedrich and company in that backfield going against the undefeated Hurricanes of Miami, who we saw play in person 5 times this year. And Kenny Dorsey and Jeremy Shockey and Clinton Portis and all the weapons they've got on offense. And then you can't forget that defense of Miami's as well. Should be a dandy tomorrow night, the granddaddy of them all. And the national championships keep piling up for both of them. Only one Rose Bowl appearance, though, for Nebraska, and that was a long time ago. Bernard's kick, another beauty.
Great kick.
This one goes out of bounds, though, and let's see where they're going to spot it. Maybe it wasn't as good as we thought. That thing sailed and sailed and sailed. He hit it a mile long, but he hit it way left. Worse than I thought. I'd take it back.
Ooh.
They're going to spot it at the 36.
I'm sure they were trying to kick it away from Lito Shepherd, but he didn't want to kick it that short.
So Ralph Regent's team is down 21-10 now. And you know, Florida probably is not quite done trying to put up points here. They got 124 to work. And they're definitely not done because they're going to go 5 wideouts and shotgun for Grossman, who threw a touchdown pass on his first possession. There's the screen again. That's worked for both teams pretty well tonight. It gets about 9 more yards for Taylor Jacobs, who's had a career night in the first half. He just keeps adding to those career marks. He's got 8 catches, does Jacobs, 2 for touchdowns and 147 yards. Not a bad 30 minutes of work.
And, you know, they talk about some of these receivers going to the NFL early. He is not one of them.
Nope. He's a junior. What a strike that was.
That's a little bit, that's something that Berlin cannot do. I mean, just moving forward in the pocket, sliding around, keeping it alive, and then just flicking the ball about 25 yards on a rope down the middle of the field.
Perez, the 23-yard gain, timeout, 1 each remaining. Maryland's defense trying to hold on now against the right arm of Grossman. First down, Gators at the Terps 35. Rex set to throw again. Got some heat from Henderson that time, and he's intercepted.
Dropped it.
Oh, he dropped it. Jerome Cox, and he's holding the sides of his helmet because he should have had it.
Should have had it. Cox has got 3 interceptions on the year. Grossman had to throw this ball, had to get rid of it.
I think it was E.J. Henderson putting the heat on him again.
There comes E.J. number 42.
So, got one hand and
almost
trying to tuck it into his midsection and couldn't hold it. 33 seconds left in the quarter. 2nd and 10. Grossman in trouble again. Throws short over the middle on a crossing pattern. Got Gaffney. And Jabbar's down to the 20. That's a first down. Down to 25 seconds.
Nice
Remember, they
job.
got one timeout left. They'll move the sticks, and that'll stop the clock momentarily.
Grossman kept it alive, stepped up in the pocket, looking downfield, and just gave it to his receiver.
Jacobs, Caldwell, and Perez all out to his left. And now the clock runs again on first down. Fires complete. Down to the 5.
Great throw.
Hoggebrook.
Just a great throw there.
16 yards on the play and 8 seconds remaining. And they're going to take that last time out. Ooh, had some smoke on that one. So they're down to the 5. They've got 8 seconds remaining. The star of the first half has been that young fella, Taylor Jacobs, as he has been everywhere for both quarterbacks. Brock Berlin first, who found him wide open deep. That was a 34-yard pickup on third down, and then even deeper for the touchdown. And then Grossman came in and said, you know what, I'm going to go 15 to you right there for your second score.
You know why he's getting all that attention is because they're double covering Gaffney and Rashay Caldwell.
There's the numbers. 8 catches, 147 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Remember that Syracuse Florida Orange Bowl in '99? Travis Taylor kind of came out of nowhere, caught 7 balls for 159 yards. It's that kind of performance, only better for Taylor tonight. So that was a Taylor in '99. This is Taylor made for Jacobs in '02. 8 seconds left in the half. First and goal at the 4. They'll work from the gun and go to the end zone. Should have 2 plays here. Grossman lost it. Touchdown. Jabbar Gaffney. And they do it with time to spare. Four-yard scoring toss to Gaffney.
I was out of practice the other day, and they spent about 15, 20 minutes going from the own 10-yard line into the end zone, working on different routes, different passes.
Chandler adds the extra point.
There he is over here. He's just going to run into the end zone, and Grossman is just going to lob it to the back of the end zone. Go ahead and run it. You don't want to underthrow it. If anything, we'll overthrow it to the back of the end zone. Again, this is a great drill that I saw that Steve was working with these young quarterbacks and the receivers. Get to the back of the end zone, throw it to the back of the end zone where our guy can catch it.
There's a happy coach.
It's practice makes perfect.
And the other side, all it needed to be was tips, maybe. It looked too easy. They went 64 yards.
Grossman,
in 1 minute and 21 seconds.
Yeah, and Grossman 5 of 6 on the drive. So he's been in on 2 drives and has 2 touchdowns. Brock Berlin was in on 6 drives and had a couple of scores and 3 turnovers on some of those drives that he was on.
Chandler now will kick off. And he's going to line drive it down there. Final play of the half. Randall Jones got it across the 30. That's where the half comes to a close. Florida had 321 passing yards. They used both their quarterbacks. Both were effective. And they lead it by a score of 28-10 as they head to the locker room. And we head down to Lynn Swan. Swanee?
Coach, when you made the change with Rex Grossman for Brock Berlin, was it because Brock had played what you had described as a set amount of time, or was there another reason?
We thought it was time to put Rex in. Brock, he did some good things, but he struggled a little bit. And Rex has played the whole year, so we thought it was time to put him in.
Will Rex continue to play in the second half?
Yeah, Rex is in.
Last question. Will that change alone, or is there something else your team needs to do to cut out the turnovers?
Yeah, don't fumble. We haven't thrown many interceptions, one careless, but just hang on the ball a little better.
Okay, Coach. Thank you.
All right, guys, halftime in Miami.
Have ever been in.
Grossman on second down. Fires complete. This one's tight. Knocked out of bounds, and he might have the first down. He's awfully close. Had to get to the 45, and that's exactly where they're standing. But you see Rex Grossman saying we're about that far short.
Steve Spurrier, the system that he puts in, the passing, not only with the quarterbacks, but the routes they run, everything else. You see everybody kind of getting around Steve. He wants to block the signals from the other side of the field so they can't pick them up.
Grossman may have said we got the first down by that much, because they did. At the 45. Graham now. Ooh, man, that's got to be Henderson in the middle of that pack. He ran into somebody that stood him straight up. Could have been Leon Joe, the outside linebacker. It was number 32.
EJ 42 plays off the fullback and makes the play.
They were both there. He's been involved in a lot of hits tonight. The 18-point halftime deficit, by the way, is Maryland's largest of the year. And Florida's 28 points are the most by a Maryland opponent in the first half this year. Grossman lofts it. Nice touch. Out of bounds. First down. Javar Gaffney. That thing needed a little more touch than it did Smoke, and he knew how to throw that one too.
He did. This is very tough. Rolling to your left, turning all the way back to your right. Gaffney, only a sophomore, 27 touchdowns in his first 23 games. Hello.
Pretty incredible. One of the finalists for the Butkus Award. There's a first down story, 20-6. Uh-oh, a little flea flicker. Grossman's got it back.
Not there.
And he finally throws, and it is out of bounds. Mike Whaley came in and got some pressure.
You know, quarterbacks hate to do that. I mean, there was nobody open. They had the flea flicker guy was down in the end zone. They hate to throw an incompletion. You know what? You know, they just say, throw it away, get it away, you know, and that was almost a late hit on the sideline, but he should have thrown that ball away about 3 or 4 seconds sooner. I've tried to tell my son that.
Get rid of it.
And he doesn't listen. Of course, when I think back to when I was playing, I didn't do it either.
That's right. Second down at the 41.
Don't listen.
Pressure coming from the corner, maybe. Here comes a blitz. Grossman find himself some time and found a receiver. Short of the first down, I think, by just a bit. It was Taylor Jacobs again.
Bob and Brad, you may notice a little change on the offensive line. The starting center, Zachman Davis, number 74, is now playing guard, and 54, David Jorgensen, is playing at center. That's because number 75, Shannon Snell, sprained his left ankle and will not be back in the ballgame. Also, Rand Carson, number 33, sprained his back, the fullback, and he will not be back in the second half.
Okay, Swanee, thanks for the update there. Zadelis has played a lot of guard on the season. Graham, little quick opening draw that didn't open at all. Nice job defensively. Randy Starks was there.
Maryland had a little corner blitz. The number 30, Cox, coming from the short side of the field. For Maryland to get back into this ball game, the same is true. First, they got to stop Rex Grossman. 2 series he's been in, 2 touchdowns, and they need to take it away and get some points. Their offense got to go down and score with it.
Well, they stopped Graham for a 3-yard loss, so it brings up second down and 13. Jacobs and Caldwell to the near side. Gaffney out to the left. Grossman fires, complete. Jacobs again. He's going to be in double figures pretty soon catching the football. He is in double figures catching the football. That's his 10th catch of the night.
Watch him go down, just go to hook. Goes inside the defensive back, Wilson. You know, Rex Grossman's got a strong arm, and he's very, very accurate. And when you put those two things together and he slides around in the pocket, buys some time, he's got 2 more years of eligibility to work on improving. Steve says he needs to work on decisions and also getting rid of the football.
And right now, Maryland needs to work on tackling because Graham just dragged some people with him down to a 1st and goal at the 6. You saw Jacobs as he went off an Orange Bowl record receiving night already. And now here comes the cavalry.
Yeah.
And he charges all the way down to the 6. First and goal Gators. They lead 28-10. Maryland needs a stop. They need a turnover. They need something to go right because their defense is being pushed around now by the Florida offense. Graham straight up the middle. Touchdown, Florida. Yards, nice blocking, good power running, and it's a touchdown Gators. Chandler in for the point after. Florida's all-time leading scorer. Chandler, the kicker, got another extra point up and good. 11 minutes, 22 seconds. The FedEx Orange Bowl is all orange and blue right now. Graham on the ground, they do it this time. And the Gators lead the Terrapins 35-10. Take one of the best linebackers in the country and then isolate your fullback as your lead blocker. Here it comes.
Rob Roberts, 256 pounds on E.J. Henderson, 243 pounds. It's a standoff. But because the offensive line got some movement in the other areas, there was gaping holes.
And there's the guy of the night with a new Orange Bowl receiving record, 170 yards, and he's tied the number of receptions for a FedEx Orange Bowl in a game that we saw. And it was Michigan and Alabama, and David Terrell just dominated. He had 150 yards and I believe 3 touchdowns in that game on his 10 catches. He was phenomenal, and so is Taylor Jacobs been this evening. So now it's a 35-10 hole that the Turtles find themselves in, and they're going to have to snap back. The Terrapins need to open up everything to try to get back in the game. And again, the kick return is nothing to write home about. Barely got him to the 20.
You know,
and Gary got popped at the end of it, too.
We've talked about the turnovers that the Florida offense gave Maryland defensively, and then Maryland offense, and then Florida defensively came on and shut them down. The fact is, Florida has improved both on offense and defense from last year. They won the SEC Championship last year. They've gotten better this year, but they didn't have anything to show for it. They didn't win a title. They didn't get in the Rose Bowl. They didn't get the championship. They got nothing to show, and better players.
Bruce Perry, had he been able to pull out of that tackle, he might have been off to a big gainer, but Kennard Ellis was holding on for dear life. Our game summary. It's 35-10 Florida. 364 passing yards. Berlin was pretty good when he was in there. Grossman has been even better.
Yeah, Berlin 6 possessions and 2 touchdowns, and 3 touchdowns on 3 possessions for Rex Grossman.
Second down at 5. Hill option the pitch to Perry, and he gets what he can, but he can't get a first down. Todd Johnson made the tackle from the secondary, and he's made a lot of them back there, number 26 this year.
Todd Johnson is a 2-time All-SEC performer. He led this team in tackles last year when Andre Davis was injured. The free safety that just runs from sideline to sideline.
And over 100 tackles last year, had 72 coming into this one. He stops Perry short of the first. It's 3rd down and 4. Hill getting some heat and now trying to weave his way through it, and I don't think he got the first down. He's about 2 feet short, I think. Maybe even more than that. Alex Brown, number 13, looking on there. He's the guy that shoestringed him. And Sean tried to scamper out of that trouble and get a first down, and they're short.
Yeah.
Here comes the punting unit.
Yeah. And you got to kick it. There's no question here. You got to kick it away. John Hope, the defensive coordinator right there. Brother Brady is a defensive line coach at the University of Michigan.
Took a lot of heat from Gator fans after Travis Stevens' 226 yards in that loss to Tennessee. You take that away, and this has been a heck of a defense this year.
It's been a great year for his defense. Ranked nationally.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still fourth down.
James sounds like he's been on Springer's show. That's James Springer, our referee. Jim's working his last game. He's retiring after this, and he is working it hard.
He'll remember this one, won't he?
You're not kidding. I don't think he's going to be singing karaoke anywhere tonight. First penalty against Maryland.
You know something we don't?
Time to punt. Bernard. This is not as good a kick as his first couple. Does take a Maryland bounce. Goes out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. Coming up on Monday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings, Randy Moss. Will he want to play and play to full capacity? Chris Carter always does. And a former Viking assistant, the head man of the Ravens, the defending world champions. The Ravens and the Vikings.
They'll be ready to play.
They'll be ready to play.
Oh, Big Tony.
Alan Fauci and Dennis and the gang will bring it to you Monday night on ABC.
Fauci's Ducks looked pretty good
Yes,
yesterday,
they
didn't
did. They staked their what they hope can be acclaimed. Now they'll become Cornhusker fans. And here's another first down. Richey Caldwell does a nice job breaking a couple of tackles, and he gets that first down to pick up a 13.
Talking about the Ducks, if they would have had, as we see the replay, just that wide receiver screen again, safe play, and when you can do this when the corners are playing off, and that's what the corners for Maryland are doing. They want to take all the big plays away, play soft, take away the big plays.
Meanwhile, they're getting chipped to death.
Yeah.
Draw play, Graham, and he's got plenty of room. Ernest on the run inside the 40, all the way down to the 27-yard line. Now it's coming from everywhere. 35-yard run by Graham.
The only two games that Florida lost this year,
he didn't play.
Ernest Graham did not play. You know, he's not a part of their passing game. He is their running game, though. And that's what it means to have a guy that can run the football. As much as you can throw it, you still need to be able to run it.
He had a touchdown on their last drive, and he just got him a huge first down at the 26. 114 yards for Graham now. Everybody get into the offensive flow. Grossman had a little trouble with the snap. No trouble with the throw. Whew. He put some Zuzu on that one to Gaffney.
He's a homeboy, you know. He's from Bloomington,
I know
Indiana.
he's an Indiana kid.
Huh? Here's your two receivers. Caldwell to the outside. Gaffney. This is not a tough route. I mean, it's just a two-man route, and they run it so well. I mean, they've been running this all day. I mean, this is
pitch and catch.
Elementary.
Down to the 11-yard line. Gillespie draw play. Nice spin. Double spin. Inside the 10. He's in. Touchdown. What a run.
Highlight film right there.
Two great moves. Both spins bought him a little bit of room. Steve Spurrier just smiling. Watch this run.
You don't teach this stuff. This is instinctive. That one was first, then another one. He says, I'll do it again. And this will definitely be on the Florida Gators highlight film right here.
Wow, the dancing in the halftime show wasn't any better than that. Extra point is good. Robert Gillespie. One more time.
He's not big. He's only 5'9".
11 yards for the touchdown. It is 42-10 Gators. Gillespie with some great dance moves a moment ago for his 11-yard touchdown. And you even saw the reaction of Steve Spurrier as we went to break with that look of, wow.
He said, I don't know where he got those.
Yep.
He didn't get that from my teaching.
Rich Parson is back deep. Matt Petrovich to kick. Again, high kick. Parson from the 7. Trying to get ahead of steam now. The steam was taken out of him in a hurry. Petrovich, the kicker, got down there and made the hit. Speaking of hits, Swanee's with a guy that delivered a few in his day.
That's right. Sugar Ray has delivered a few. Sugar Ray, I know you're a sports fan. Which team are you rooting for down here?
Well, I don't think I have to say that from Maryland. And it's pretty disastrous right now.
Well, they got a chance to come back still. You've got a partnership with ESPN, too. Sugar Ray Promotions?
Sugar Ray Boxing. In fact, the first Friday of every month, Sugar Ray Leonard Boxing presents Friday Night Fights. I have a great relationship with ESPN. And first Friday, second fight coming up this Friday night on ESPN 2.
And that's a championship fight.
It's a championship fight, yes. It's about putting on exciting fights, competitive fights.
Okay, well, what you have to do right now is see if you can go over and talk to Ralph Friedgen, see if you can teach him how to fight a little bit harder and get your Maryland team back in this ball game.
I'll do that, man. Thank you so much.
Good luck to you.
My boys is going.
Sounds like he was out with James Springer, our referee. One of the great fighters of all time. Ray Leonard, former undisputed welterweight and middleweight champion, and now along with ESPN, his own boxing promotion here in Miami. And we thank him for joining us. I think he'd have to come up in weight, or Swanee'd have to go down to welter. I think Swanee's got the reach on him, too, just a little bit there.
Yeah, you know, I don't know, though. My man Swanee can move.
Yep, he can. He can dance.
He's a lot younger than
Yeah, I haven't had many fights, and the few I did, I'm not sure I won them all, boys.
I can't even win fights at our meetings before the games. At the 30-yard line, third down along 2.
I think Swanee's got a little bit of a glass jaw.
Yeah, could be.
I think one blow to the chin and he's down.
The option goes straight ahead with the fullback being the first option. And James Lynch is close. But I don't know if he got it.
Guys, I got a little question for you. What do you think the biggest comeback has been for Maryland? Well, I don't want you to think about it for too long. It was in 1984. They were playing in the Orange Bowl against Miami.
Yeah.
Frank Risch was their quarterback. They were down 31-0 at half, and they came back to win that ball game 42-0.
Frank Reich, and that was against Bernie Kosar and company, and that was one of the great comebacks ever in any football game at any level. You see he's about the length of the football shy.
That was 42-40. Sorry about that, Brad.
And, of course, Frank Reich and Neil O'Donnell and our buddy Boomer Esiason, probably the biggest names ever to play quarterback for Maryland. And Ralph was on the staff when Boomer was there. And we saw them chatting before the game. All the Maryland alums so thrilled to be here, but obviously not thrilled with what's going on right now with 6 minutes left in the third.
Still been a great year for Maryland and Ralph Friedgen and his staff and players. They hadn't been in the bowl game since 1990 at the Independence Bowl. Not a major bowl in a long time after that. And he's turned this program around. Certainly was the Cinderella team of the 2001 season. And you can't say enough about all the years he waited for a head coaching job, all the jobs that were passed by, and finally he gets one back at his alma mater, and he just turns the program around.
Isn't it amazing that a guy that, as they got the first down on fourth down, you obviously saw, waited 32 years as an assistant to become a head coach, and Larry Coker waited all those years as an assistant, and he's got his team in the national championship game tomorrow. Hill off play action, look out from behind, hit by Alex Brown, and they're going to say incomplete pass. Alex has been waiting to come flying around that corner all night. He's been close. He's had a hold of him. He's had a hold of his feet. And finally, he gets a pop on him here.
On the top of your screen, he runs around Brooks. It was pretty close.
Boy, you're not kidding.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
More like a fumble than a pass to me, but let's get another angle. Yeah, they give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess.
That's a judgment call by the referee right behind him.
So Maryland may have gotten a break there, and now Hill from the gun on second down. Steps up and fires back. Nice throw. Gary spins across the 50. Julian Gary, their leading receiver, a 20-yard pickup. His second catch of the night.
Gary just sits down in the open area. Nice pitch and catch. We're talking about Sean Hill. You know, he was only under this system with Ralph Friedgen for 1 year. He's played with for the last 3 years, he's had 3 different offensive systems. That's like learning 3 different languages that you have to call plays on.
Here's the option, a late pitch, a little bit low, but handled pretty well by Rich Parson. And run out of bounds at about the 43. And, you know, Sean Hill says, man, I'm agreeing with Coach Friedgen. I wish I could be around another year, too.
I'd really enjoy to stick around with these guys, you know, for some more, you know, a couple more years and see what they could do with myself. I feel like I've developed tremendously in the last 12 months as a quarterback, just under their tutelage, and I know that I have a lot to learn, and I have really, you know, a long ways to go, you know, in becoming a quarterback. I feel like I'm a very young senior, if that's possible.
Good line, a very young senior. They go straight ahead, fullback Chad Killian. And now Maryland's got a little bit of something going here as they mix up their offense pretty well. Pickup of 9 by the fullback.
The Fridge said about Hill, he says, I only regret that I don't have another year or 2 to work with him because he is bright and he's intelligent. And I think Ralph Friedgen can turn any gifted athlete with some ability into a pretty good quarterback. I think he did that at Georgia Tech with
Godson
and Hamilton before that.
And movement, Florida jumps. C.J. Brooks may have come out of his stance, and Bobby McCray came flying across the line, so this is going to go against Maryland. You know, Sean Hill, again, and talking about him, he's a guy who wasn't given much of a chance to be a quarterback. As you look in on a bright orange monster over the Orange Bowl tonight, the Monster.com blimp providing us with our great views above. I'll finish my thought on Sean Hill after this snap. First down at 15. 3 wideouts. Gives it off to Riley. That didn't work for much. Only got about 2 yards. But Sean Hill was not recruited basically by anybody. There's a couple teams that were considering him as a punter. He went to Hutchinson, Kansas Community College. He had to beat 6 other quarterbacks out of the job just to get to the point he's at. And then coming to Maryland, and he's out of a little town in Kansas, Parsons, Kansas. And I know everybody in Parsons is watching tonight. I say little hometown. Heck, it's 4 times bigger than my hometown. But 12,000 people.
St. Charles.
Here's Hill. Quick throw. Got it out to his tight end. Matt Murphy knocked out of bounds by Benny Alexander. And it's going to bring up 3rd down at about 5.
Hey, Brad, just a little add-on to that story about Sean Hill. You know, even though he got recruited to Maryland, when Maryland came to that little junior college, they weren't looking for Sean Hill. They were looking for another player, and the coach said, hey, I got a quarterback. Think you can take him?
They were looking for a DB. And all of a sudden, he found a home, and he found a system, and he found a first-year coach. And they found 10 wins along the way to win the ACC title. 3rd down and 5. This is 2-down territory for him. They give it to Perry. Well, maybe it's not. Man, he got handed his helmet right there on the play by Aquendo Johnson. Marcus, who started at defensive end tonight, he's basically a linebacker, an outside linebacker playing that defensive end spot.
3 of the top 4 defensive ends for Florida are out for one reason or another. That's why they moved the linebacker, Aquendo Johnson.
Darrell Lee out with a wrist injury, and Kennard Ellis at a knee scope. So they are a little bit thin at that spot. Of course, they got one of the great ones in Alex Brown on the other side.
4th down.
They're going, and here they come. Blitz coming from Florida. Hill running for his life, had it batted down, and it's Alex Brown, who I just mentioned. Florida will take over on down. Yeah, they sent the house after Sean, and it paid off. Try as he might, he couldn't buy himself enough time, and he couldn't get it over the long arms of number 13. Florida takes over when we come back. Not as much for Maryland backers to cheer about than they had hoped 42-10 they trail here with 3:11 left in the third quarter. And part of the problem for Maryland has been going up against a Florida defense that has been relentless. They have chased and battered Sean Hill.
Florida's offense gets all of the attention, but this defense is ranked in the top 15 nationally in every defensive category.
They've intercepted Hill. They've knocked him down. Gus Scott with a hit there. And also Benny Alexander, part of a form-perfect defense for Florida tonight in this FedEx Orange Bowl.
John Hope is the defensive coordinator.
He's in the middle of that somewhere.
Yeah, he's in there.
First and 10 now for the offense. Grossman on to give to Graham, who's already over 100 yards, and he's got way more than that. Ernest down the sideline, all the way down near the 33-yard line.
Ernest hadn't played for a while.
He's hungry. 35 more yards for him.
He's been out injured, talking to lawyers and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's been busy. Of course,
but he's running good tonight.
Yes, he is.
And we're glad to see it.
You bet. Season high for Graham, 149 yards. It's a nice night to do it.
Yeah, we're glad to see it, not because it's against Maryland, but because he had an injured knee and was out for a while, and the uncertainty of whether he was going to need surgery.
Grossman, Gaffney, touchdown. 33 yards, right on the money. Would you say everybody's in the act?
Maybe Gaffney's going to go straight down the field. Maybe Spurrier should bench Grossman every game. He's played 5 possessions and has 5 TDs. He is, what is he? He's 18 of 23, 230 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Candler's extra point is good. With 2:52 left, there's the third one, up close and personal. Gaffney from 33 yards out. It's 49-10 Gators. This was the scene just a moment ago after Grossman had thrown his third touchdown pass, rather, of the night.
Rex is saying to Brock, you go ahead and start every game. I'll come in and I'll throw 5 touchdown passes or 5 scores and 3 touchdown passes right in a row.
It's going to be a big comeback Maryland's going to need. This is the one Swanee talked about moments ago. Frank Reich took over with Maryland in a big hole, and he got hot. And boy, did he ever.
Throwing deep, and he's got a man out there, Hill. Greg Hill on the kill, and it's a touchdown.
And Bobby Ross getting carried off. Ralph Friedgen, Bobby Ross's mentor, and worked for him at Maryland the first go-around before going on to Georgia Tech, the San Diego Chargers, back to Georgia Tech, and then on to the head coaching job. But right now his team's 39 down. With just under 3 to go here in the third quarter. You know why they let this guy kick? It's not the short high kicks. He's got 6 tackles tonight. I have never seen a kicker have more than 2 tackles in a game. Watch this.
Nobody blocks the kicker.
Petrovich, bang. No. Oh, that hurts.
Nobody blocks the kicker, you know, because normally these guys kick it sideways and says, I keep the football and I'll be the safety man.
He was a linebacker in high school, and he's playing like one tonight. He's going to end up being one of the leading tacklers. That's just unbelievable. Play action to Riley. Look out. Down goes Hill, and it's Alex Brown again. And now Alex putting on a little bit of a show. He said, you know, I'm so sick of listening to my brother talk. His brother was a linebacker at Maryland 4 or 5 years ago. And he said he's been talking smack all week ever since we knew we were going to play the Terrapins. And he said, I'm going to put all that to rest. There's the guy that coached him so well this year, Darryl Hundley. Says Coach Hundley, or Ricky Hundley, he said he's even taught me how to eat better. Got my body leaner, got faster. Here's a pitch on the option.
There's a clip.
Parsons done some nice things tonight. And as Bob said, he will be a big part of their offense in seasons to come. You can bet.
But you know, when you play defense for Florida, you don't get much. I mean, if everything goes with the offense, the quarterbacks, and Coach Spurrier, that the defensive coaches don't get recognized much. There's John Hope, the defensive coordinator, been here for a few years. You know, you look back at the other defensive coordinators that Florida has had, though, and they've moved on and done pretty well.
Bob Stoops, won a national championship.
Bob Stoops is a head coach, national champions at Oklahoma. And then you've got Bob Pruitt, who was the head coach at Marshall.
Right.
Ron Zook, who is the defensive coordinator with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
And then Jim Bates, who is a defensive coordinator right here in town with the Miami Dolphins. So being a defensive coordinator for Steve Spurrier, I guess, in time pays off.
Yeah, I think so. You're right, though. It's like being Tiger Woods' caddy. You don't get a lot of respect for what you've done, even if you did a good job. Mike Nattiel makes the hit on Riley.
I see where head coach Spurrier is going to be the offensive coordinator for Bob Stoops
in the Hula Bowl.
The Hula Bowl.
That ought to be interesting.
Yeah.
And Steve said, well, I reckon he'll let me call the ball plays, and pretty much anything I want to call, he'll probably let me.
Leave it to he'll handle the defense. And if you want to go for it on 4th down, he'd probably let me go, and if he doesn't, that's okay, too.
2nd down and 9. Hill down the middle, got his tight end Murphy again. Matt's second catch of this quarter. That might bring the quarter to a close.
Just before it drops down, Brad, let me tell you that whatever Maryland's going to do, they may have to do it without Bruce Perry. He has re-injured that abdominal strain, and he is very, very questionable as to whether he'll come back.
Okay, that was a big question mark up until the past 4 days or so, whether or not he was going to be healthy enough to go. And he did start. He did some nice things. Here's a streak down the sideline, incomplete. And that will bring the 3rd quarter to a close. Another quarter that belonged to the Gators as they've stretched their lead now to 49-10. ABC Sports presentation of the FedEx Orange Bowl will continue after this message and a word from our ABC station. Our FedEx ground and air stats tonight. Florida's ground game, mostly Ernest Graham. Well over 100-yard night and 2 touchdowns. Maryland held to 69. And our air stats, well, as you might guess, Florida way over their average for each game. They average 405 a game. 425 tonight is an Orange Bowl record. Sean Hill to throw. Crossing pattern as Jafar Williams, and he's down to about the 35-yard line. That's a 1st down. Todd Johnson made the tackle at the end of the play. Jafar Williams had a 64-yard touchdown catch earlier in the ball game.
Yeah, he's actually probably feeling very fortunate to be able to play this game. At one time, his whole body cramps up so bad he couldn't go out and play. The people very often thought his life was in jeopardy his freshman year. Found out he just got overexcited, so he has to take medications so he stays calm, Brad.
Yep, just before each game, and it works, and it worked very well for him this year. He caught 39 passes coming in. This time it's Darryl Whitmer. And there's Perry. As Swanee said, his night is probably done. He's putting his helmet back on as though he's trying to let us know he's maybe ready, but he's got the pants loosened up there and continuing to try to keep warm.
That ain't good.
Nope.
You got your pants loosened, that's probably a good sign you ain't going in.
Either that or you had a big Christmas dinner. It's Hill on 2nd down. That's a first down toss down near the 20-yard line. Whitmer again, second straight catch for him.
Brad, this Maryland offense returns 8 of the 11 starters. Of course, Sean Hill will graduate, but it's a good nucleus for next year's ball club. Second year under the system. I hope the alumni don't expect a 10-1 or a 10-2 season every year, but got a lot of players coming back.
Hill throws. A good throw. Down to the 15, make it the 14 to Julian Gary.
Maybe Brock Berlin should consider transferring to Maryland.
There you go.
Well, I tell you what, the quarterback in Ralph Friedgen's system has a good time because you do a little bit of everything. Some option, some pro offense, some shotgun, some spread, a little bit of everything. Second down and 4. Knocked down that time. Ian Scott got a hand on that. Knocked it down.
Sean is 16 at 27, 200 yards, a touchdown and an interception. He came into the ball game averaging 216 yards passing. Maryland very balanced, rushing yardage to passing yardage all season.
12th play of the drive. They need this one, and they got it. Jafar Williams again, and it is first and goal Maryland. So Williams approaching a 100-yard night as far as a receiver, including a touchdown.
This is very similar to some of the stuff that Florida has been running, the little wide receiver screen, little slip screen, different variation.
First and goal at the 8-yard line. Just under 13 minutes to play. Florida with a big lead, but Maryland driving offensively. Nice play fake by Hills. Gonna roll the throw. Now he's gonna tuck it. Get what he can, which was almost 3 yards. Linesman puts his foot down just outside the 5-yard line. Ralph Friedgen, who signed a new 10-year contract late in this season, actually between the end of the year and when this bowl game took place.
Ralph said one of the first things he did when he got there was had workouts, winter workouts at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Said nobody complained. Here's Riley on the pitch. Sticks his head in there. Didn't quite get to the end zone.
You talk about some hitting going on inside the 2-yard line.
That couldn't be a farther play away from our booth, and we could definitely almost feel it up here. Lito Shepard.
That's Manuel, number 4. Shepard is 3.
Stood him up.
They did the most of the hitting.
Third down and goal. At the 1. Hill on the give to Riley. Touchdown. Maryland scores. So Mark Riley, the senior, who had been hoping a long time for an opportunity like tonight. And there, how you like that? Coach Friedgen says that's a way to not quit, fellas.
There you go. See, he knows he's not going to win this game, but he said early on, he says, you know, he said I had a lot of character kids. They got up at 5 o'clock and worked out over the winter. He said some of them didn't get the message, and I didn't want them on the squad anyway.
Right. Novak hits the point after. Just under 12 minutes to play. Riley, the senior, takes it in. It's 49-17. The granddaddy of them all tomorrow night in the Bowl Championship Series for the national title, Miami and Nebraska. Juan Gonzalez, their sensational senior tackle. One of the characters we talked to many times this year, and he said, we're going to win them all.
I've always told the guys, I'm like, you know what, I know we're going to win every single game this year. I don't know how. I don't know if it's going to be a come from behind win. I don't know if we're going to be up, 50-0, at halftime. I just told them I know with the type of character we have on this team that we're going to win every single game.
We'll find out if they win every game. Nebraska stands in their way. Otherwise, Miami will be the national champs yet again.
He got his hair cut.
You know, I realized that. I saw him the other day, and I thought he'd wait for you and I and Swanee to send him the money, because he said to us earlier this season, I'm not getting my hair cut. Now, here's an onside kick by Maryland. They got it. Flags are down. I think they were offside. I think the ball traveled far enough, but they might have been offside.
Yeah, you're right.
So Juan said, when we get out to the Rose Bowl, I'll get my hair cut. He said, maybe you guys will send me the money, because it wouldn't be an NCAA violation by then, by the time the game's over. I thought he was going to keep it till it was over. See, he cleaned up a little bit while he was out there.
He's looking clean.
Yes, he is. Now the discussion going on here among the officials. And it might be Maryland ball. No. It is offside.
Defense. 5-yard penalty. Free kick.
He meant offense.
I think Jim is hoping that they don't have too many more penalties that he has to announce.
So the thing is, they get another opportunity to try it again if they so choose.
Yeah, Steve wants the option to take the ball where it is. Of course, Maryland recovered it. This is a deal where he goes 10 yards, and the kicker's going to recover it, and all the other guys come down and block the Florida players. It's a good play, but Maryland was offside.
Well, Florida doesn't expect them to do it again, because they didn't expect it that time either, but they've got everybody in their normal positions. So Nick Novak will try it again, one way or the other.
5 guys between them and 10 yards, so they kick it deep.
It'll go down to the 10-yard line to Gillespie. And Robert got up to the 30, 31-yard line. Coming up on Sunday night, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to slow down Donovan McNabb and the Eagles to avenge last year's playoff loss in Philadelphia on ESPN. Sunday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Warren Sapp will be doing some talking.
Yep, there'll be some shenanigans going on in that ball game. There'll be some hoaxes going on. They don't know whether they're really going to run a play or not.
At the 31, they come with Caldwell. Isolated one-on-one out there as Grossman had a nice look to the right and then came back to the left. And Riche Caldwell continues to add to Florida's passing numbers. The last 5 possessions under Rex Grossman, all touchdowns.
Yep.
Pretty impressive. And 3 of those are touchdown passes.
Yep.
So he didn't start, but he's having one of those Orange Bowl record kind of nights anyway. Our 1st and 10 brought to us by Monster.com tonight. On 2nd and short, they don't need much for a 1st and 10, and they've got a bunch. Here goes Gillespie again, and he ran right by the safety. Down the sideline, and he's dragged down at about the 10-yard line. It was Denard Wilson, the corner, who looked like he had an angle out there, and Robert just ran right by that angle. 50 yards.
Graham is the bigger and stronger at 215. Gillespie only 5'9" and 190, and he has blazing speed. Gets around the outside, and you know he would love to have run that one in.
Yep. He got it all the way down just outside the 10-yard line. Career long. They are going to call it 1st and goal, so it's right at the 10.
That's 192 yards rushing for Florida already here this evening. They came in only averaging 122.
It is 1st and goal. Grossman pump fake, now zips it. Incomplete. Intended for Caldwell. O'Conlon was there defensively on the corner, and it's 2nd down.
Florida has thrown more touchdown passes than any other team in the nation, and coming in had allowed fewer touchdown passes than any other team in the nation other than Miami. Miami was tied with Florida at 5 touchdowns allowed passing.
Gillespie sets up in the backfield. Maryland might bring some pressure. Grossman has time, though, and lofts it to the corner. He's got his 4th touchdown pass of the night. And this one is Carlos Perez. pitch and catch. Good route, perfect pass.
2 receivers, wide side of the field. Slot receiver just runs a little corner route.
Chandler for the point after. We now have a record amount of Orange Bowl points by 2 teams combined, but most of the points are Florida's. Maryland's defense trying to slow down the Gators and just can't. 56-17, Gators in front. Well, the Gators are going to be tasting those oranges shortly. 10-16 remaining, and they lead 56-17. Grossman 4 touchdown passes and did not start the ball game. He's been in on 6 drives. He's led touchdowns on all 6, and all have been 60 yards or more. At about the 2-yard line on the run back. Out near the 20. That's where Maryland will have to work now with 10 minutes remaining in the ball game. The 29th Annual American Music Awards with Brooks and Dunn, Cher, Lenny Kravitz, Kid Rock, Shaggy, Britney Spears. Everybody's going to be there. Hosted by Jenny McCarthy and Sean P. Diddy Combs. Next Wednesday at 8, 7 Central on ABC. I can't keep Sean's Puff Daddies and P. Diddy's and everything straight.
Somebody changed your name, didn't they?
Yep, he did. A couple times.
See, I knew that. That's pretty good.
Very good. At the 20-yard line. Back to throw is Hill. Got a man open and got Parson deep down the middle. And across a 45-yard line. Pick up a 27.
Maryland was, you know, they had a great year. They've no matter how this game turns out, they've had an outstanding year. One of the reasons they had a great year, they didn't have any injuries. Everybody played every game. The only starter that wasn't around for a few games was Okonlawan, and he missed like 7 games. But everybody on offense and on defense. And how often have we seen that? Last year was Oklahoma.
Yep.
They went through the whole year, won a national championship. Didn't have anybody hurt.
One of the years Wisconsin went to the Rose Bowl, and Northwestern, when they went to the Rose Bowl, they didn't get anybody hurt.
Yeah.
It's a big factor. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Sean Hill is not done playing. He's done a heck of a job this year, too. And while they're going to come up short to Florida, they still have not given up. They're still moving the ball.
Yeah, this is, like we said, the first bowl game for these Maryland players.
Hill.
But it won't be the last.
Ducks under the rush. Throws incomplete. He intended Julian Gary, the closest guy. Bob said to Sean the other day, he said, you know, you're going to leave behind a legacy. You're the guy that brought Maryland football back. He said, I don't think anybody's going to remember my name. He said, as long as I can just be part of this team and they remember this team, that's good enough for me. And then as he was walking out of the room, he kind of came back and said, you know, as a matter of fact, I was at a luncheon the other day, and a big Maryland alum was sitting next to me the whole time during lunch.
What did he call him?
And he said, as soon as we got up to leave, he said, nice meeting you, Scott. You don't always get the respect. But he's got the respect of the Maryland fans this year. 8:58 remaining in the ball game. 56-17. We're into the 4th quarter. A dominating defense led by the player of the year. And an offense that did just enough, led by Sean Hill. And a great win at the end against NC State that gave them that celebration in the locker room as Atlantic Coast Conference champions. First time since 1985. And we congratulate them on that accomplishment and getting to this Orange Bowl. It's not going to go like they wanted it to, but they have had one heck of a season. Hill down to about the 45.
And when they won that last ACC title in '85, Bobby Ross was the head coach and Ralph Friedgen was the offensive coordinator.
Their first Orange Bowl since 1956. In fact, their first major bowl of any kind since the '77 Cotton Bowl. So they have had a great time down here. They've enjoyed their time. They put their work in. They really cherished every moment, and they're just not going to cherish basically 3/4 of this football game. 8:24 remaining in the ball game. Florida in command. Looking in on what turned out to be a beautiful night at Pro Players Stadium for the FedEx Orange Bowl, a Monster.com blimp covering tonight's Orange Bowl. 130 feet long, 40 feet tall, 2,700 pounds. Monster.com reminds you to think big when it comes to your career and your life. 73,640 in attendance tonight, watching Florida en route to their 10th win of the season in this FedEx Orange Bowl.
All right, Sean.
Hill. Keep on working it, son. He's not done, and you know, the last time he carried it, Marcus Oquendo Johnson, you might have seen, help him up as if to say, nice job, man, you are not quitting, and he's still not.
And you run the option, and they're going to cover the pitch man and force this quarterback to carry it. And he does, and he carries it very nicely.
3 wideouts now, and Mark Riley remains the tailback with Bruce Perry out with that strained abdominal muscle. Hill going to throw a middle screen to his tight end, Matt Murphy. That's a good-looking play.
Nice
Almost
play.
got a first down, too.
Nice play.
These are some of the things they probably could have done with a little more success had they either gotten the lead or been able to stay in the game. And now Florida has softened a little bit defensively.
It's like Ralph says, you know, we're going to come in, we're going to fire our shots, we're not going to come in and play defensively. We're going to come and do, but their defense just didn't hold up, and their offense didn't score when they had the opportunity.
Second down, a yard. Hill stands in over the middle, incomplete, intended for Whitmer, and Gus Scott got his head in on that one. So it'll bring up third down and a yard.
You know, I was referring to it a little bit earlier, but I was going to say if the people would have voted for the Heisman Trophy after all of the bowl games, what Joey Harrington did at Oregon yesterday, you know, I don't think many of the people in the East got to see Joey Harrington and the University of Oregon play.
And you wonder if Rex Grossman's performance tonight would have closed that 72-point gap with Eric Crouch.
Yes, for both of them.
Eric's got his chance tomorrow night.
Exactly. He's got his chance tomorrow night.
There's the Heisman voting. Closest in a long time. Crouch, Grossman, Dorsey.
I think tomorrow night's game is a great matchup. Nebraska has won 3 national championships. What, in the last 7 years, I think it is. Miami's won 4 in the last 18 years. And you know, I was reading something Keith Jackson, who's going to be calling the game, said earlier. He says, hey, the rules of engagement were set early on.
That's right.
And we did, you know, it's the BCS, and that was the way it was going to be played out. And that was the way it is. Nebraska is the #2 team, and we should, you know, Nebraska is a darn good football team.
You bet. They only lost 1 game.
We don't have to defend Nebraska. I mean, they had 1 bad outing. It happened to be in November instead of in September.
They beat everybody else they played by 11 points or more.
Yeah.
They had 1 bad game. They got clubbed by Colorado's ground game.
And it's not like Nebraska went in the, you know, was waiting there. Everybody else had a shot. They all fell by the wayside late in the season.
That's right. On the option, and they end around. Not able to keep his footing. Jafar Williams, and Alex Brown's part of the reason. He's had a heck of a game.
He is the career sack leader at the University of Florida. As you mentioned, he's the defensive player of the year in the SEC.
You know, 2 seasons ago, he sprung on the scene when he had that 5-sack game against Tennessee, and then everybody felt that his game fell off a little bit last year. He's put it back together this season, though.
You know he's a quarterback in high school.
Yes, he was.
And a fine quarterback at that.
You knew Swanee was going to have to say something about that.
Hey, one of the big things about Alex Brown this year is that with Rick Hundley there kind of being on his case a little bit, he dropped a substantial amount of pounds. Weight, he was up to over 270. Couldn't play the whole ball game. His conditioning was poor from last year. And in the offseason, he got the weight down. Rick Hundley was on him. I think he taught him better technique and made him a better overall player. So now his career comes to an end. He's played all the years he could play for Florida, had great success. Now he looks at a brighter career in the National Football League.
You're right. 6 tackle night for him, and he's created more havoc than just those 6 tackles, too. 3rd down and 20. Flags down. Haven't been a lot of penalties tonight.
You know, you got to give our hats off to Steve Spurrier too for the outstanding job that he has done since he came to Florida. Before Steve came to Florida in 1990, they had never won a conference title. He won, in his first 7 years, he won the title 6 of those 7 years. One year he wasn't eligible to win it, but they won the title 6 of 7 years on the field. The frustrating thing for Steve is, of the last 5 years, they've only won 1 SEC title, and that's got to be really bugging him. I mean, they had a better team this year. Their offense was back and better. Their defense was back and better, and they didn't win anything.
Hill, deep middle, dangerous throw. Nothing but white jerseys except Jafar Williams, the intended receiver, and there comes a late flag. Maybe too many white jerseys. So Maryland might still have some hope here on this particular drive. Looks like it's going to be pass interference. At least that's certainly in the vicinity. And so that's a call. Now this is Steve's 150th game at Florida and about to win his 122nd. As you see another look at the replay, that's a good call.
Yeah, a little early hit.
Steve's been in this game 3 times.
Yep.
Once as a player and once as a coach before tonight. He won the game as a player, ending his Heisman season of '66 with a '67 Orange Bowl win over Georgia Tech. And then I mentioned earlier the '99 game against Syracuse. They throttled Donovan McNabb and Syracuse in that one. So he's going to be perfect in the Orange Bowl after about 6 more minutes. Again, the man in motion was Williams. Sean Hill fires, complete to Gary. Inside the 10 at about the 9, a little bit short of the first down.
67 there, Fowler, the center. You know, center's got to be bright, call the plays on the offensive line. He's a member of the Maryland Chess Club.
Yeah, I love that. And when he says checkmate, you get out of the way.
Yeah. And guys, he might be the smaller of the offensive linemen, but I guarantee you he's the biggest guy in the chess club.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
And on the whole circuit, for that matter.
Hill throwing to the corner. Not quite. Whitmer had about a half step, but it was pretty good coverage. Ratliff was out there, and it's incomplete. We mentioned Ralph Friedgen. That new contract came when Georgia Tech was looking for a coach, and they came thinking about wanting him to come back. And Debbie Yao, the athletic director, says, I think we better nip this in the bud. So a new 10-year deal for Ralph to stick around, and he says that's the only place he wants to be, and he wants to finish coaching there in College Park.
Well, the ACC has, what, 5 universities now?
And Riley got there, touchdown. Good for him. Mark Riley, the senior. Speaking of Debbie Yao, the athletic director, she made a promise to this incoming class when they were freshmen. She has a SEC championship watch when she was the Lady Gators coach. She's been wearing that thing forever. She told these guys when they were freshmen, if you ever win an ACC title, I'll get a new watch. Mark Riley went up to her the other day and says, Miss Yao, it's time for a new watch. We're going to get you an ACC championship watch. That's great. She said, I didn't know anybody remembered, but Riley did, and Riley's got 2 touchdowns tonight in his final game for the Terrapins. That kept an 80-yard march.
That was a good drive. Maryland's going for 2.
And Riley stays in there. Murphy, the tight end, and Gary, Whitmer, and Monroe, the wide receivers. On a 2-point conversion try here in the final 5 minutes. Murphy on the move. Maybe he'll look to him. Across the middle, and Whitmer had it in his hands and couldn't hold it. So it remains 56-23. But Maryland, as they've done all season, showing resiliency and hanging in tough, continuing to try to score here in the waning moments in a losing effort, soon to be a losing effort. 5 minutes left.
Coverage of the FedEx Orange Bowl.
Well, the Florida Gators will finish in the top 5 for the first time since '98. They started the season as everybody's #1, and Marquand Manuel, their emotional leader, helped the Gator fans see some superlative games again from Gaffney and Grossman, the runner-up to the Heisman Trophy. The defense we've talked about tonight, led by Alex Brown, they were sensational all season long, record-setting in their performance, except Tennessee was the one that got away. And instead of heading to the SEC Championship and possibly the Rose Bowl, it was the FedEx Orange Bowl, and they're going to be the champions in 5 minutes, and they'll be 10-2 on the season, and they're certainly not going to
Well, you said 10-2.
Their national image, that's for sure.
This will be the ninth year of Steve's 12 years that they've won 10 games or more.
And that's just incredible.
That's incredible.
So when you consider what Tennessee did in their ball game and what Oregon did in their ball game and what Florida has done, those are 3 of the top 8 teams as far as BCS rankings that are going to move up. Colorado will slip down a little bit, and of course tomorrow night everybody will be watching the Rose Bowl presented by AT&T. We'll be watching too. Our buddies Keith Jackson, Tim Brandt, Todd Harris, and our partner Swanee's going cross country to join them. They'll bring you the national championship tomorrow night right here on ABC, and we wish those guys well, and have fun, fellas, in that ball game.
Thank you very much.
Offensively, when you look at the teams, they get it done in different ways. #1 rushing unit is Nebraska's.
Look at that. Nebraska's rushing #1, passing 110th in the nation. Miami's more balanced.
We saw Miami 5 times in person this year, and
I tell you, Nebraska's got a sneaky passing attack.
Yes,
though.
they do.
They got a good tight end in Wistrom that I think might slip down the center of the field a couple of times and have a shot at a long pass.
Grossman pump fakes one way, comes back across the middle, and that is incomplete. Almost in and out of the hands of Troop, the tight end. 4 touchdown passes ties the Orange Bowl record, as Rex is 20 of 27 for 248 yards and 4 touchdowns, and that is in 2.5 quarters.
Bad day. That's low.
We've had some records go by the boards. We were talking all week that we were going to get some yards and some points in this game. We were right in both counts.
Rex's average is 350 yards, 354 yards per game passing. So that's why he's still throwing the football here.
Here's a little quick opening draw to Gillespie, who had one of the highlight runs of the night that I know you'll see a few times in the next couple of days. The record that Rex tied belongs to Danny Cannell, former Seminole of Florida State. His performance in this FedEx Orange Bowl. Down to 4:25 and the clock running. 56-23. 3rd down at 14. Gillespie goes in motion now and sets up as a wide receiver to the right side. Grossman wants to go that way, and he threw way too far in front of him. So that'll bring on the punting unit. And the Florida punter isn't the guy that has to be very busy all season long. Matt Leach, what is this, maybe his 27th kick of the year, something like that.
I think he punts less than any punter in the SEC.
And 26 punts coming into this one. And they haven't had to punt a lot tonight. Rich Parson waits back at the 40. They're going to try to bring a little bit of heat here, it appears, although Florida continues making adjustments. And he hangs one up high, not going to be returnable. And it takes a great Florida bounce all the way down to the 29-yard line. We've got 3 minutes, 53 seconds to go in the ball game. It's a new year, and it's a new...
What's that, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Let's see, we watch the practice on Sunday night.
Yeah.
And then we watch NYPD Blue
on Tuesday night. And then we watch the job Wednesday.
Yeah, we got the job on Wednesday.
And usually I got a basketball game in there someplace, so I have to tape one or two of them. Look out, Sean. Trying to get a screen pass away and finally did. It didn't look very good and it didn't gain very much. They got 2 yards. Jason Crawford is the guy that made the catch.
We'll congratulate Chan Gailey for taking over Georgia Tech going into the ACC conference. He's still the offensive coordinator here with the Miami Dolphins, and we'll be going over. That's I was mentioning earlier that the ACC has 9 teams, and 5 of the 9 have coaches that are
at their alma maters.
Out their alma maters, yeah. And Ralph Friedgen is one of them. Boy, that conference has changed coaching-wise over the last few years.
And what a job the ACC up until really tonight did in their bowl games. Clemson won, Florida State. There's the guys that are at their alma mater.
Yep.
Al Groh just came in this year. Chuck Amato, who had another nice season. Ralph, John Bunning did a great job with Carolina. They won the Peach Bowl. Carl Franks at Duke.
If you're interested, we looked this up. Our crack statisticians, our staff, there are 16 coaches around the country coaching at their alma maters in Division I.
And I'm not going to name those.
No,
I can't go there. Here's Hill.
Look out.
Got rid of it. Murphy is tight end again. And he's out across the 35. Got about 5. Under 3 minutes remaining in the 68th FedEx Orange Bowl, and the season for Florida will end up at 10-2, and it will be the same record for Maryland. Likewise at 10-2.
All right, here you go. Who do you think is going to win tomorrow night? Give me a. I think the two things. I think the keys. One's key for each team. Miami's got to be able to protect their quarterback.
Right.
I mean, if they can't protect him, I think that's. And Nebraska's got to be able to run the football. If Miami can stop Nebraska's running game, they'll have all kinds of problems. And if Miami can't protect their quarterback, if Nebraska can get pressure on him, they'll have all kinds of problems.
Well, that offensive line of Miami's has been my favorite group all year long, so I'm going to take them that they don't let Dorsey get too dirty. And I guess I'll take the Canes. And that's not to go against my friends down in Nebraska.
Yeah. Well,
We've had them this year, too, and they're a good team.
They are a very good team, but I think it's Miami's year.
Who's Swanee taking? Florida lines up now.
Well, you know, I never pick because I'm too close to the boys on the sideline.
That's right.
If I pick the wrong team, I'm liable to get run over by someone.
That's very true. You got to go out there.
You're going out there.
Stay quiet.
We're just fans.
I think it's going to be a fine football game.
I do too. And Swanee, to you and Grease, we finish up another year together. It's been quite a ride, fellas. Started off with Swanee's induction in Canton, and that was a pretty good party. And we'll probably try to have another one here in about 2 minutes. So great being with you, partner.
Thank you, partner.
You too, Lynn.
Brad, thank you very much.
1:55 and the clock running. And Florida with some of their reserve players in. And I don't know that they ever thought they'd get the opportunity or the luxury to use 3 quarterbacks tonight. But they get to, and here comes Matt Sitter. And Matt, the fullback, takes it down. That's pretty close to a first down. I want to also thank all the gang that's been with us. Our crew, sensational as always. As always, our director of productions, Bob Toms. Assistant to the producer, Chris Damiani and Marvin Watson. Our associate directors, Dick Ellis, Steve Fettig, and Craven Martin, our associate producers. Technical director, Reggie Wade. Our games directed by Steve Bime and produced brilliantly by Kevin Smolin all year long. Our statistician, as always, PTR, Pat McGrath, and the best spotter in the business, Clint Deans. Our coordinating producer, college football's Bob Goodrich. The executive producer of ABC Sports is Howard Katz. That's our group. We're proud of them, and they did a heck of a job. Again, we have a good time.
Nice going, fellas.
So Steve Spurrier is going to win another Orange Bowl. One as a player, and now this will be the second time as coach of the Gators. And his 150th game coached for the Gators will be his 122nd win. That's something else. And Florida throwing here in the last 30 seconds. Calvin Kite makes the catch.
You know what it is. It's he's got a quarterback in there. He wants to let him throw the football.
Yep, he's worked hard all year, too.
He's worked hard. He practices. He goes all the meetings. He's finally got in the game.
I think Steve's backing up from what just happened to Coach Hundley. He got a little bit drenched there. The buckets. And I think they're hunting down Steve right now. Here's Gillespie. And Gillespie's down close to a first down, but the game is down to the end.
I think Steve's looking for that. He's looking at it.
Did they get him? They never got him.
He was looking.
He's still looking.
Look at him. He's got his back toward the back to the field.
He doesn't miss much, does he?
Well, he knows.
Congratulations to the 2002 and 68th edition of the FedEx Orange Bowl. The champions are the Florida Gators. 56-23 is the final, and to Ralph Friedgen and his Terrapins, they certainly have nothing to hang their heads about. A remarkable story, one of the great feel-good Cinderella stories, if you will, in all of college football in a long, long time, and they had a remarkable year. But the final tonight, Rex Grossman comes in late, finishes up, and Florida wins it 56-23. We'll be back to Miami in a moment.